Welcome everybody to today's stream. Hello. Hope you're doing fine. Let me quickly set up everything. And we should be good. Hope you all had a nice week so far. Welcome. And there we are. Good day to everybody. Welcome. Let me quickly change my stuff here. This is going to be already the first safari of the day. Welcome, Northgrim. Welcome. Some kind of Harvest Temple daily group will be exciting. Let's see what this is. So if you're not familiar with the term safari, it's just a funny meme telling you like, okay, we are like going in, pugging, so pickup grouping, and don't know what we will expect. You know, there can be people that are either really good, there can be people that have no clue what they are doing. Will be interesting to see what we get here. Could be anything. Why can I not respawn? Okay. Yes, that's an interesting bug. Let's log out. Welcome, Jon. Welcome. I'm doing good. Have some, day off today. Just streaming today is really nice. Just relaxing, having some fun, playing some Guild Wars 2, specifically PvE. Having, like, just answering some questions, talking about the game, enjoying myself. So I'm doing good. Hope you're all doing good as well. Do I have the right food? Looks good. Welcome, Real Sateos. Welcome. Yes, there is currently not the giveaway is not open yet. We will do a giveaway soon. Don't worry, check. We will do a giveaway soon if there are more people there. And don't worry, we have more planned for today. It's a longer stream, so don't worry. Just have to get like slowly going, you know. We cannot start right away with the giveaway. That would be like too exciting, you know, for my old body at this point. Let's see how it goes. Are you winning, sir? I mean, I sure hope so. Yeah, that is like, you know, winning in PvE. What is that? You know, can you even lose in PvE? Is that a thing? So no, I hope we will not have a big problem here. You know, for me in PvE, it's not about winning or losing against the boss. It's always about being top DPS. No, I'm joking, of course. Typically, I play healer anyway, so I'm probably the last on the leaderboard of the DPS there. But now I'm actually allowed to play DPS here, so looking good so far. Yeah, welcome, Jackie, as well. Hope you're all doing fine. Hope you're all enjoying yourself. Are you still like excited for Guild Wars 2, or is it like currently you're not really? Like, I know a lot of veterans are a little bit bored of the game right now. I'm not really, for me it's not the case, but I know a lot of them are. So how are you feeling about the game right now? Are you excited? Do you like to play Guild Wars 2 still? Do you have a lot of fun? Or are you a little bit like, the next balance patch is not my type and we currently don't have that much new content? That is the common criticism that I hear. I don't know. I'm still happy about it, but what are your thoughts about this? This is always something I'm like a content creator, and I want to not only make my opinion public, but I also want to know what is like the common sense, the community. What does the community actually like feel about stuff? So let me know. I'm always interested to hear that. So let's see. Second dragon down. That's good. Should be fine here. Yeah, sad. Didn't have stability in the continuum split. That's sad. That's very sad. Okay. Yeah, Power Chrono is so fun. It will sadly get nerfed as well. So, I mean, didn't expect anything else, to be honest. But yeah, Power Chrono, one of my all-time favorite power builds. So fun. It's just a really interesting like dynamic of setting up your illusions, dealing damage and stuff like that, and respawning them. It's cool. Funny you say that. I've been maining Guild Wars 2 for the last 1.5 years and been having the best time, but for some reason 2 weeks ago I lost momentum and struggled with do anything more than dailies. Honestly, not sure why. This is like, for me, you know, you played the game now for 1.5 years. That's like not that long if you compare to the existence of the game. And it's really funny that you explained this like phenomenon, but for me this happens every now and then. Like let's say in the beginning it was more like every year. Now it's more like every couple of months where I just need to take a bit of a step back and don't play Guild Wars 2 as like 10, 20 hours a week, but go more like, okay, I just do the dailies and stuff like that. That happens, like that's like some kind of fluctuating phases that I'm going through. So I definitely know what you're saying there. I don't know why it happens. It's just at some point you get burnt out a little bit. You just are not interested in playing a lot anymore. It's just because there is not always crazy amounts of content coming out. I think that's mostly the issue there, of new content, that is. But I think it's normal, you know, you cannot play a game for 10 years straight and never like stop playing it at all. I think there's always a little bit of a like ebbing, so to say, like coming and going. Sometimes you play it more, sometimes you play it less often. That's just normal. I think Guild Wars 2 is very nice in that regard, because you never like have a big issue if you quit and come back, or quit like in like saying a little bit of like not playing as actively. You can come back at any time. So I think for me that is never a big problem in that regard. So I think it's completely fine if you do that as well. Just don't say like, you know, the game is shit or something just because you don't enjoy it as much anymore. I think it's really important that the community is always like, yeah, maybe I don't enjoy the game right now that much anymore, but maybe in like a couple of months I will again. I don't want to make the game worse for other players by saying, yeah, this is a bad game now, just because I'm not really like up for it at the moment. That's just something that I want to mention here, because I know some people do that, and that's, in my opinion, not fair. Not really fair. To the game, at least. Very nice. Yeah, I mean, then it makes sense. If you already played for 13 years, then you're exactly in the same boat as I am, because that's just what happens, I think. That you sometimes just, I don't know why, just sometimes you feel like, okay, I'm not as excited by the game anymore. And that's completely fine. I think not everything in the game is always about like playing like 20 hours, 30 hours a week. I think that is not, some people can do that for 10 years, but I think most people will have to take a break at some point. That's normal. And Guild Wars 2 is really like lenient in that. Yeah, exactly. It's for me, it's like I love this game always. You know, I sometimes might have a different game that I play for a couple of weeks a lot because I really enjoy it. But whatever happens, I think I will always come back to Guild Wars 2. You know, that might change if there's ever another game coming out from ArenaNet, maybe. But for now, it's always like every now and then when I played a different game, I get the feeling like, why did I even stop playing Guild Wars for that much? You know, getting back to it, it's actually a really good game. So it's always like, it's like this loop of me like not enjoying Guild Wars 2 as much anymore, and then suddenly realizing after a couple of weeks, it's actually a really good game, I want to play it more again. So it's like, for me as a content creator, that's not noticeable for you that much, because I still play the game always. But I play it more also off stream if I enjoy it more. And right now I enjoy it quite a lot. In like the last, let's say, 2 months, there was a time where I played it a little bit less, just because I was a little bit let down by some of the like amount of content and patches that came out. So that's fine. You know, you cannot always play the game at full force, in my opinion, but that's just how it goes. Yeah. Ooh, that's gonna be scary, scary, scary. Not good. I mean, we will rally here, hopefully. I played Guild Wars 2 after VOE, and I'm so used to having high damage and did almost every raid CM except a really hard one. Do you think that the new patch will make the game less fun or will make the game better? I want to know your thoughts as a veteran. So I think it has different layers. So first of all, I think the damage nerf is like, for most players, if you just play open world and stuff, it's not that noticeable. Yeah, so you said you're playing raids and stuff, sure, then you will notice a difference. But I think even then it's not like something that, oh my god, I cannot go through this. Even then it's not a big like, it will not make the game unplayable because you didn't notice anything else. You know, we played the game as veterans for 13 years, as we mentioned here in chat. And we had times that the damage was like half of the damage right now. And we could still have fun in the game. So don't worry, you will have fun. It might be a little bit of an acclimatization period in the beginning where you say, oh, I'm not sure. Is that like intended to be that long, this fight and stuff like that? But you will get used to it. I think that's not a big deal. And they even announced yesterday, I think, in a blog post, or not a blog post, in a forum post, that there will be adjustment or an adjustment to a couple of bosses that have really health pools, like to decrease the amount of time that you spend on them, because you will get a damage decrease that will lead to more like time spent on the boss. But because of that, they will also decrease the amount of health the boss has. So you will, in an ideal world, not notice a big difference in that regard. We will see if that's the case, but interesting to see. Interesting to see that they actually acknowledge this. Yeah. That's quite cool. That's quite cool. But we will have to see. Yeah. Welcome, Pressure. Snowdrop, thanks a lot with the Prime. 12 months, a full year of support, and right now a quest for a full lore series. We have to make that a sub goal. You know, this is not something that I will particularly enjoy. So it needs to be something that actually I get some. Okay, I guess this commander just left after this performance. What? That's good. Yeah, maybe in the future, maybe we have to do a sub goal for like stuff like that, because I'm really not into lore, as you probably know. So doing a series on that is probably quite painful for me. That is crazy. We were doing a couple of, like, for like context here, we were actually doing a couple of like dailies, and the commander just left after the first daily. Oh my god, pugging is such a safari nowadays. It's actually crazy. Absolutely insane. Welcome everybody. Yes. How many KPs do you have for the very old raids? So I played the raids when they came out, and I started playing raids again when the raid unification happened. For a couple of years, like multiple years, like for example, Veil Guardian came out in like 2016, I think, 2016. I played like until 2018 or something raids, and then I played for almost like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years. I didn't play raids at all. So it's like, I don't have insane amount of kill proof. I think for my highest kill proof is like a stack or something. So I played raids, yes, but I did not play insane amounts every day. Like I said, I took breaks from the game, sometimes even multiple months where I didn't play at all. And for raids, I took like multiple years raid break, because it was like after getting raid legendary armor and playing for fun, at some point you don't want to repeat Veil Guardian for the 1000th time. So that's why I don't have that many kill proof. Doesn't mean that I don't know what to do there, obviously, but I get what you mean. You, as a veteran, you could have so many. So many. Where are we going? Which was the next one? Hit this one. Okay, I guess not. Was waiting for you to play Berserker, Greatsword Spear, or Legendary. I do about 25 to 30k DPS on average. I'm looking into investing into stat agony infusions. Is it worth it? I'm thinking of buying it with raid currency. Does it make sense to buy a mix of power, precision, ferocity? So if you want to get to the highest benchmarks, you need the infusions. That's just baseline what you need. If you want to reach the absolute highest numbers on a benchmark, then you need the infusions. However, the infusions give you on average like 500 DPS, something around this number. Please don't quote me on this, but this is what you could expect, like 500 to 1000 DPS, which is noticeable, yes, but it's not like insane. So it's quite an investment if you want to buy them. They cost, like, depending on which ones you buy, around like 50 to 100 gold per infusion. You can also get them cheaper if you get the fractal infusions, but still, it's an investment per slot to get like a couple of more 100 DPS. Sure, is that worth it for you? Maybe, if you main it, yeah. But don't forget, rotations matter way more. If you do the rotation perfectly, you get like, I don't know, 50% increase in damage if you do the rotation perfectly against just pressing random buttons all the time. So it's really, really important that you do the rotation, and only if you do the rotation really well, then you should consider, okay, now I think I'm good enough to actually get value out of the infusion. So really keep that in mind. This is something that, as a new player, I don't know if you're a new player or veteran, but as a new player, infusions is something that is far, far in the future. You should never invest into infusions as a new player. That's not something worthwhile. At least the stat infusions we are talking here. About agony infusions, sure, get agony infusions for fractals, but I'm talking about stat infusions. I have stat infusions on a couple of my DPS builds because I like to have min-max characters, but I don't even have it on all my characters. So if you watch my build guides on YouTube, I showcase always the gear that I have, and I have full legendary gear, sure, but I don't even have full infusion setup for all my characters. It's just too expensive and too minimal for all the builds. So I would say if you want to min-max, sure, go for it, but TLDR, most players, you should not care about it. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question there. And yeah, I think it's a nice long-term goal if you only enjoy one character and playstyle, and then I would go for full power infusions. If you're playing a power build, typically you want to play full power infusions, and for a condition build, you want to typically go for full condition damage infusions. There are a couple of exceptions, not very many though. So a couple of them use spiteful infusions, I think they are called. So the expertise infusions, if you cannot cap your condition duration, or some builds use precise infusion, but this is pretty rare. So be a bit like careful. Typically on power builds you use power infusions. That's pretty much it. Yeah. I don't know why they just left. It was so weird, the commander, yeah. How about a 50-minute wooden potato style breakdown of the various Salmon runs? Oh my god, you have ideas, you know, maybe you should become a streamer and stuff like that. And I mean, you made some really good YouTube videos, I think, before, so just do it again, you know. I would watch it, you know, even without knowing and caring about like this stuff, lore in Guild Wars 2. I would watch it. I would be intrigued by seeing that in action. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like 2%. It's really like, you should not say, oh, I didn't reach the benchmark because I didn't have the infusions. It's really the infusions. Yes, sure, if you reach 98% of the benchmark, then and you don't have infusions, sure, then the infusion is the reason that you didn't reach it. But if you are not getting over 90%, it's not the infusion's fault. Hopefully that makes sense. It's all about the rotation, and the infusion is just the cherry, the very, very small cherry on top of the cake. Yeah. What's the hardest DPS build on your channel, or the one you spend the most time on the golem with? That's probably Condition Mirage. Yeah, I mean, I don't have to think about that very long. Condition Mirage is like insanely hard to bench. It's hard to bench already, and then in a real fight it's even harder. It's crazy challenging. You have to take care of so many things, of your illusions, of your positioning, of your just rotation in general. It really is a challenge. And it will get nerfed quite drastically with the upcoming balance patch. So I'm not sure if I will ever revisit that one. In terms of I did not make a video about it yet, and I'm not sure if I will ever do that. But there is a build that is probably the hardest build in existence, and it's Condition Quickness Scrapper. It's a really weird thing. It will be nerfed and probably impossible to be played after the patch. Uses Steam Shrinker Relic. It's one of the hardest ones out there. It's Condition Quickness Scrapper. It's really like interesting and fun, but it's extremely hard. That's why I didn't make a build guide about it, because probably no one watching will actually reach a good number with it. And even I would like need hours, maybe weeks, to get a decent number with the benchmark. So yeah, definitely the hardest build, I would say. Welcome, Shadens. Welcome. So would it be better to use infusions with stats to make your health pool bigger if the damage is neglectable? So that is like a fair point. You could use like Vitality or even Healing Power or Toughness infusions, sure. But keep in mind, they're also like, the change there is exactly as small as for the damage. So the question is it worth it to you to invest like hundreds of gold into infusions if you go for all of them to get like, I don't know, a couple of hundred more vitality or like health pool? Is that worth it to you? I would say for most players, if you die to an attack and you would not have died to the attack because of infusions, you are probably like experience a one-time thing in like a couple of months when you play a lot. It's really not often the case that the difference is the infusions to survive or not survive. So I would say in a real situation, probably DPS infusions all the way, or not going to get any infusions. I think that's anything like going like a middle ground is probably not worth it, because they cost the same, they give the same low amount of like damage or defense. I think it's not worth it. I think infusions is really like just for the tryhard players investing extremely hard into getting the best damage output. Keep in mind that you can get stat infusions that don't have agony quite cheap from the World vs. World vendor. Do I have some of them in the bank? Let's check. I think I should have some of them in the bank. So if you play fractals, you need agony infusions. That's just it. But if you play only like raids, only play open world, and you still want to have the best, where is it? Stats, you can go for stat infusions. Let me show. Yep, there we go. you have condition damage, malign infusions from World vs. World. And those give you +5 condition damage and no agony. So you still get the most amount of stats using those, but you don't get the agony. So if you're only playing raids, open world and stuff, those are perfect. And they are way cheaper. They cost laurels and badges of honor, I think. So not as expensive at all. And you can use like those on your normal infusion slots in Ascended Gear. So highly recommend those if you don't play fractals. So for example, I think on this character I have the power infusions, or for example here I have the precise infusions. So precise infusions, they give of course 5 precision, and that's really good for me because I reach exactly 60% crit chance. But those are the agony infusions, and they are, like I said, pretty expensive, so I don't have that for most of my characters. Hopefully that answers your question. Yeah. Exactly. If you're not swimming in gold, I think like infusions is not something I would invest in. Keep in mind, for example, if you have the Jadebot core. The Jadebot core tier 10 gives 235 vitality, which is like pretty much like 2000 or like something like that health. And if you have all the infusions, you get, I think, 18 infusions. That means you get 90 more stats. So it's the Jadebot core gives effectively 2.5 times more than all the infusions, and the Jadebot core costs like 20 gold. So it's like you have such a big difference in the value that you get from infusions to anything else. Like even the back piece with the lowest amount of stats gives you more stats than all the infusions combined. So infusions is really not something that I would say is like quite important. Okay, so let's do the meta. It's time for a meta event. I'm new to the game, just got some expansions and don't know what is the best living world to buy first. I would say depends what kind of player you are. Some players like to play the in like the corresponding chronological order. So if you want to get the story perfectly normal, like how it's supposed to be played, then you should stick with the story that you're actually like currently at. So if you are playing, for example, if you have the expansion Heart of Thorns, you should probably maybe get Living World Season 1 and 2 first, then play Heart of Thorns story and then continue like that. But I would personally say, if you're only playing for gameplay or mostly for gameplay and don't care too much about the story, I think Living World Season 3 and 4 are probably the best ones you can get. Living World Season 4 is not only in terms of storytelling really good, but also the maps are really good for gold farming and experience farming and stuff like that. And Living World Season 3 is pretty much the best option for getting ascended trinkets. So those two are like extremely valuable in terms of what you can actually achieve with them. But in terms of story, like all of them give you story. I guess if you want to get the story and experience the game's like lore, then I guess that's you have to get all of them at some point. Yeah. If you're looking for more gold, then typically Living World Season 4 is probably by quite a big margin the best option. Living World Season 4, maybe Icebrood Saga if you don't have that yet. Those two are by far the best options, yeah. Exactly. Was wondering what's the best and most relevant way to support you and your content. I got the Patreon sub, but I'm not sure how relevant it is. Maybe YouTube membership is a better option for you. So I'm first of all very grateful if you consider supporting me in the first place. I obviously really like appreciate that. But if you want to support me, choose what you like. For me, effectively I get almost exactly the same amount. Like after taxes and all that stuff, it doesn't really matter. So you can subscribe on Twitch, you can give me a YouTube membership, you can give me a Patreon membership. It doesn't really matter. Get what you can afford and what kind of company you want to give a fraction of the money as well. That's yeah, I cannot give you a clear recommendation there. All of them have some rather big companies behind them, like Google, like Amazon. So they will always get a cut of that. So support the big like company that you dislike the least, I guess, if you understand what I mean. So thanks for consider supporting me or supporting me in the first place. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Always happy to answer, of course. The reinforced armor buffs give slightly more HP than a full suit of vitality infusions. Just to put that into perspective, Jadebot core has double the efficiency than vitality infusions. Yeah, exactly. So this buff, I think I have it on all my characters. I don't have it here. Good to know. Where is it? Here. I have it here. There it is. So this one. The reinforced armor buff gives you, it's not even described here, gives you health and defenses. And if you go to every 12 hours, I think, to a, like, how's it called? Like Anvil, you get this. They are like positioned in almost all the maps at some point. Or you have this infinite reinforcing canister. Those are like giving you so much stats for passively. It's actually crazy. So as Snowdrop puts it here, it's like those buffs, the Shadebot core buff, they give you so much more in total, and of course all your gear, that the infusions are so neglectable in almost every situation that I would say, like, yeah, sure, if you want to min-max, go for infusions, but getting the Agony and the stat infusions is like really necessary only for people that want to play fractals at the highest level and get the highest numbers. Only then it's actually worth it, because only there you actually notice a difference. Because if you don't reach the benchmarks at 90% or something, I would say infusions are just a wasted gold at some point, because the infusions are not providing you with that much damage as if you would just improve your rotation in the first place. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah. 5% vitality for the buff. It's actually surprisingly high then. I mean, it's a bit sad that they don't write it here. I still don't get why they write increases health. Why not by 5%? You know, that's 4 letters or 5 letters if you count the spacebar. It's actually crazy. Why do they not add this so that we actually know when we hover over it? But yeah, I guess it is actually quite important then. You can join the squad, yeah. It's just a normal open world meta event squad. It's in the Shipwreck Strand category, meta Hammerheart Twins. You can join, yeah. Of course, everyone can join. It's on EU though, so if you're on NA, then you cannot join. Yeah. I'm not sure if infusions are equipment tab specific or item specific. When the item is legendary, can I have one template with regular infusions and the other one with world versus world stat infusions? Yes, you can do that. So if you have a character that you play, for example, I have now here currently the Quickness Conduit condition build, yeah? And if I want to play this only in open world and raids, I can get the, okay, bad example, I can get this piece with the condition damage infusions, but not the agony infusions. If I then swap to a different build template, let's imagine this would be, I don't know, condition quickness conduit, but for fractals, then I would go and get the agony infusions in with, of course, the DPS loss of the agony, or of so to say exchanging agony infusions, because I need them for fractals, but I don't have them for the other thing. But you can exactly have the same gear and a different equipment template, just the infusions differently. Yes, you can do that. And that is quite nice. But you cannot, like, so to say, have one template and have only the infusions swapped. You need multiple templates for that. So templates are pretty important if you want to play multiple builds with different infusion setups and stuff like that. Yes, that is the case. Yeah, and you can, of course, also, like, good point here by Scarlet, you can get so many buffs, you know, you can get food buffs, you can get the Shade Protocol buffs, you know, by talking or like getting the maps in the open world where you talk to the battery and stuff like that or interact with it. You can get those things and they will give you more buffs effectively than the agony infusions or the infusions in general. For like all intents and purposes, this is way more important. Like, most people are too lazy, or not most people, but some people are too lazy to get actually food going. But if you look at, for example, very cheap food here, like the super veggie pizzas, yeah, this gives 140 stats. This is already more than all the infusions. And those, if you like check on the trading post, super veggie pizzas, let's check. Super veggie pizzas is like below 3 silver and last half an hour. So if you get this, it is like 3 silver effectively for more stats than the infusions. It's insane how much more value you get from actually having like a little bit an eye on your food situation. And if you are very lazy, you can also get, like, for example, where is it? The utility primers and food primers, and then you have 12 hours of food, and then you don't even have to notice it. Yeah, it's pretty important. There are so many other things. Infusions is always the last on the list. That's why I always mention it in the build guides that I do on my YouTube channel. I always mention, for this build, condition damage infusions is the go-to option, but it's not necessary because they just give so little amount of value that for most players it's not necessary. Hopefully that answers it. Yeah, always happy to help, Marva. Thanks a lot for your support, by the way. Really appreciate it. is Solo Tempest build getting affected at all by the April 4th, 14th balance changes? There was one trade to go from 25 to 20% condi damage, but as far as I know, we don't use it in the build. I gave it a try yesterday, and it's such a breath of fresh air after the Soul Beast. Maybe Land Hunters will be my main from now on. So I think Tempest will receive almost no nerfs, especially the solo build, because you don't use this trait that you mentioned, and this is the big nerfs of it. I would personally say that almost all my solo builds, if they get a nerf, it's almost neglectable, yeah? Because in solo situations, you are way more reliant on providing yourself buffs, providing yourself with, so to say, perfect uptime of DPS, and healing yourself while doing it, than having all the damage multipliers, all of this, for example, the relics, all of that stuff permanently up, which you do in a normal like raid situation as a DPS. So I would personally say that for most players, it's for solo builds, you will not notice a difference. It's just solo builds are so marginally affected that it's probably not worth mentioning. Yeah, there might be some solo builds that have on the golem, on the benchmark, less DPS after the patch than before. Sure, that's just how it works. If you nerf everything by 10 to 15%, the damage output, solo builds will be affected. But like you mentioned with Tempest, this one will probably get almost no effect, yeah? So that's quite crazy. And I would also say that even the DPS builds in most situations that you play in raids, even those are not something that I would say like, oh my god, you should not play this build anymore. Because everything gets nerfed by 10 to 15%. There are some exceptions, don't get me wrong. So the balance patch has some really, really big nerfs, where some builds are like almost unplayable after that because they lose like a third of their damage. But it's like such a small amount of them that in a real, like, if you ask me just a question, will you not be able to play this build? And I don't know what build you mean. I will probably say no, because you can play the build and it's still worthwhile playing. And that goes for solo builds even more than the normal DPS builds. Hopefully that answers your question there. Yeah. Love your build guides. Keep up the good work. Yeah, will do, of course. Will do. Glad you enjoyed. I have 9 characters. I actively play all of them and rotate kind of every 2 weeks or sometimes when I play World vs. World. I swap daily. Do you think it's more worth getting into Ascended gear for each? I would say at some point, yes. Ascended gear is first of all really nice. You can swap it. It's account bound, so you can use it on a Mesmer, on a Elementalist and a Necromancer. If you use Berserker gear, you can use it on all 3 of them. That's quite nice. It's better than Exotic in this way, which is soulbound. And if you are, so to say, like someone that wants to min-max anyway, then I think getting Ascended gear for all the classes is always worth it. You know, before I had full Legendary gear, I still had a lot of like different characters because I wanted to play different characters. And therefore, for me, it's important to have full Ascended gear on all of them. But I know some people don't mind that, and then Exotic is fine as well. It's not like Ascended gear is like the be-all and end-all, but it's not that hard to acquire nowadays anyway, so I would say, yeah, I would definitely go for Ascended gear, especially if you like to min-max. Hopefully that makes sense, yeah. Even if you're stingy, not running at least Soul Pastries in open world is just trolling yourself. Exactly, like you can go for the cheapest food, and you will still get a lot of value from it. Even if it's like something that is not really benefiting your build, if it's like concentration or something, you still get stats that you might not otherwise have. So it's like, okay, why are you wasting, like, so to say, your stats on that? Or not having it, for example. It's really like, I would say for most people, get any food and you will be happy. Yeah. Yeah, starting Legendary is also a good option. I think getting a Legendary gear is like always like a nice long-term goal. It's not something that is necessary for all players though, but if you enjoy having a long-term goal, definitely go for it, yeah. I like the Druid Condi build. It's really marginally touched, so projection says it will be around 44k damage. Yeah, exactly. It's like some builds are not even that like insanely hard nerfed. Some builds are, but most builds aren't. So I would say don't stress too much. If you like to play a build, it will probably be still completely fine after the nerfs. Like, people are a little bit too negatively like in the mind when it comes to this nerf. So they hear the word nerf 10% and they feel like the build is unplayable. There are only like a handful of builds that are actually close to unplayable, and even those are probably not like considered to be unplayable for most players. Hopefully that makes sense. What's the best way to get the stat +9 infusions? I'm pushing for Fractal God at the moment. Was thinking about getting them for a while. So if you want to play Fractals with those stat infusions, I would say Fractal God is a good starting point to get going with challenge modes in Fractals, because it gives you those, I don't know how they're called, like integrated fractal matrices, I think they are called, those items, and you can exchange them for the stat infusions, the agony ones. So this is like effectively providing you with a cheap version of those infusions, but you need to play the challenge modes. That's how I got most of mine, because I don't want to invest like 50 or 100 gold of stats or of like gold into those stat infusions. I would rather go for something that is like just time investment that I anyway wanted to do for gold, like the challenge mode and Fractals, where you get those items, integrated fractal matrices, they are called. Really, really good item. A really good way to get the stuff. Hopefully that answers your question. I would say it's a good way to get started in those infusions, especially if you want to push for Fractal God anyway. Always happy to help. Always happy to help. But yeah, if you have any questions, just ask. You know, don't be shy. I will try to answer all of them. I cannot promise you anything. Sometimes I don't know the answer, but if you have a question, always happy to help. And after we are done with this here, we will also do the giveaway. I promised you a giveaway, so that's what we're gonna do. I really enjoy Condition Conduit. It's such a fun build, and look at my health. It's so fun. I have like 32k HP. It's like, okay, it's a full DPS build, but I still have so much HP. It's actually quite fun to look at, to be honest. Welcome, Wiz. Welcome. So, how are you all doing? I mean, I have to be honest, I'm slowly getting more excited for the next patch. You know, it's only 1 month or something. I don't know when the exact patch will happen, but I'm getting excited. You know, we get a new map. We get 2 new legendary accessories. We will get finally also more new relics. I'm looking for more build crafting, of course. And we will get some more story, which I'm not that keen on, but the new map and the legendary will be exciting. Or 2 legendaries. Oh my god, they killed everyone here. The boss got them. Crazy. Yeah, but I'm slowly getting again more excited after the, I wouldn't say negative feedback of the last patch, but the last patch was not that exciting. Now I'm finally getting like the vibes of like we are getting back, you know, we are back slowly. It's just 1 more month until we get some new content. Yeah, giveaway coming up after this. Don't spam it yet, please. It's not up yet. Yeah, I'm still. Yeah, there are some nerfs, especially the catalyst nerfs. The coming of the catalyst nerfs, that will be a bit sad. I have to be honest. Welcome, Lucid Links. Welcome. Nice that you caught me on stream. I like it. Welcome. Hope you're enjoying the stream now as well. Did they announce the boss HP nerfs recently? Yes, they announced it yesterday. I think, at least my time zone. I think they announced it yesterday. Yeah. So very recently. We don't know the exact numbers though, so we will have to see how much. And I think maybe they don't know it even yet. I don't know. But there will be a nerf or adjustment. And I think we don't know the actual all of the bosses, all of the things that will be there. I think they just announced that there will be adjustments to the newer bosses. I think it's not like Veil Guardian or something, but for example, Keller or Wing 8 and like the Starlit Welt meta, stuff like that is pretty hefty, pretty HP spongy. Those will probably be guaranteed to be affected. Yeah. What legendaries are we getting? So in the upcoming May patch, we will get an accessory from Open World, pretty much guaranteed. Or we don't know if it's from Open World, but there will be a legendary coming, legendary accessory. Might also need some. Probably it's from Open World. It's. I would be very surprised if it isn't, because we will get an open world map. But the second legendary accessory that we will get will be from World versus World. So very exciting. We don't know exactly what it involves, but probably you need a lot of World versus World skirmish tickets. I would be, again, very surprised if that wouldn't be the main grind for that one. But who knows, you know, they sometimes come up with some crazy ideas for legendaries. the Catalyst nerfs are mostly like DPS nerfs, but also boon duration nerfs. So you need way more boon duration. I think you need like 70% plus boon duration on Quickness Catalyst, for example, to upkeep 100% quickness, which makes the build obviously way less DPS focused because you need way more boon duration on your gear. Therefore, you lose a lot of aggressiveness on your gear. So yeah, this will be a big loser of the patch, Catalyst, for sure. Exactly. End of Dragons and up is getting reduced. Okay, so there we have it. Yeah, that's what I expected. So the new things. Yeah, I read it, but I couldn't remember what all of them were actually. Yeah. Not just the cutter nerfs, I'm an Evoker enjoyer, at least specialized elements getting buffed, but they should revert the change back to the old version from last year and apply it to World vs. World. I think that is a little bit sad. I was really enjoying like the healing Evoker in World vs. World, like full waterlogged Evoker. That was really fun to play. It was not even that, like, it was quite good. Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit biased, but it was quite fun to play as well. But they only do the specialized elements trait change in PvE. So there will not be a change to how you play Evoker in competitive modes with the specialized elements traits. That's a little bit sad, because this is a really interesting trait, but I think they are scared of getting it too obnoxiously strong or too spammy. I think in PvE that will already be the case. It will be very spammy. Like I think it's like fully recharging it or 50% recharging it with the, how is it called? With the normal, like with the empowered attack. That will be very interesting to see if they adjust it after that again, but I hope that this is now finally the final version, because I think that is like pretty boring to always adjust the numbers there. So people either play Evoker and then say, oh, no, it's not good anymore, now I don't play Evoker anymore. I think it should be at some point like stable, and you can say, okay, this is how we want to leave it for the next years, because this is like, yeah, a little bit unnecessary. Welcome, David. Nice, and glad you're enjoying it, And it will most likely drop another expansion after Visions of Eternity. I mean, I would say it seems likely, but it's a little bit weird that they didn't announce it yet. You know, normally they announce expansions like years in advance, and this one isn't even announced. So I think it seems quite unlikely that we will get one this year. If we will get another one next year, I think that is at this point more likely than not. Yeah, but like I said, I have no clue what ArenaNet is doing. I don't have any more information than you do. So it's just like at this point, I would say yes, it seems likely that we'll get another expansion, but my realistic expectation is not this year. Otherwise, they would already have announced it. That's just like, I would be very surprised if we get another one this year. There we go. Did it. I'm still waiting for the day when we get an infusion here. Nope. That's fine. That's how it goes. Let me clean up. How you hide all players like this? And it's in the settings. You can go there and say lowest character model and lowest quality, and you see almost nothing. That makes my FPS quite high. Yeah. Honestly, at this point, they should just require 70 boon durations for all boon DPS. I would be all up for that. I think that would be awesome. Like having boon requirements for boon DPS builds being very high, that would make Diviner gear way more interesting and more different runes. I think that would be better. I think having permanent boons should have a price. And I think it would be an ideal way. I think it's just weird that they go for like Catalyst, Amalgam, Ritualist. They go for boon duration in their gear, and then you have like builds like Chronomancer or stuff like that. They just, yeah, we don't care. We have 0% boon duration and we still have permanent uptime. This is weird. They should do it for all of them. I think it's not good for doing a couple of them, but I'm with you. There's no drop for sure. What classes the next patch pushes you to play? I will play all of them. I will give you my answer what I play more after the patch, because that's just the nature of it. I cannot give you my answer now, but I will definitely play a couple of builds less that are currently really strong and will get nerfed a lot. But even Conduit that I just played, that will get nerfed quite hard, but it's still a really good build after that. So yeah, we will see. Yeah, I agree. Old specialized elements was pretty good trade. I have a question regarding macros. I play Untamed, have one button, do F5 for Unleash, and the second one doing F2, F3 for all Unleash pet skills. I wonder how risky that is for a ban. You should not use anything that is macroing. It's really like macroing in Guild Wars 2 is you should not do that. You can get banned for it. I really emphasize this and want to stress it here. If you use anything that's multiple actions when you press one button, if they notice it, you get banned. It's really, they don't have any excuses. If you have any macros that are actually useful for pressing one button and you activate multiple skills at once, they will ban you. So be very careful there. I just want to warn you there. I know this is an accessibility feature, that how you use it, but this is how they like do it. I'm not sure if they are as strict for you specifically, or if you're just lucky that they didn't find you, but be careful. Don't use macros at all. Yeah. Yes, I can invite you again. Give me a second. Give me a second. What infusions are you using? On this condition convert, I was using condition damage infusions. Or if you mean the how it looked. Wait, could... Why did it not work? There we go. There we go. I invited you. So if you're about the looks, I was using for the looks, I was only using the abyssal infusions from Fractals, which is this one, abyssal infusions. Yeah. Yes. So healing chrono will still be like good. Healing chrono is like not receiving any nerfs from this specific nerf patch, whatever, because it's a healer. Healer will not get nerfed at all. Except healing catalyst. Funnily enough, that's the only one that is pretty much like nerfed. But yeah, I would say it's not my favorite anymore. I play typically, if I have to play healer, if I can, I play Troubadour more now because it's stronger in my opinion than Chronomancer. If I play Alacrity heal, I think I still play Chronomancer a lot of times because it's just so flexible. Yeah, I still like it a lot. Welcome, Rox. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. Yes, so I would say if you play with macros, especially on stream, they will instantly ban you. If you played with macros in the past and don't use it anymore, they will not ban you. It's really just like if you do it at this moment, they will do that. Yeah. So it's really like for me, I'm obviously ArenaNet partner, but even if I wouldn't be, I would always recommend don't use macros. Like macros in Guild Wars 2, they have a 0 tolerance. Like this is just, that's their policy. So really don't do it. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to join a guild, just write me your account name. I can invite you, of course. Yeah. How would you handle Condi clans when playing warrior? Seems like I get wrecked by Condis all the time. So if you're playing in a group, you would have your healer take care of it. If you play in a solo situation, you typically take stand your ground, not stand your ground, how is it called? Shake it off. Or if you have, for example, defense straight line, that is really good for Condi cleanses because you can take in defense. Give me a second. In defense, you can go for cleansing ire, which is good in solo builds. And other than that, you would typically really use like either Signet of Stamina for Condi cleanse or Shake It Off. Those two are by far the best options for Condi cleanses. They are just so reliable. But that's just like in solo builds. In group situations in PvE specifically, you would always go for a healer having the Condi cleanse and the DPS going for more DPS. Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to start the giveaway. Give me a second, I will set it up. So, there we go. Giveaway is up. I think this one. There we go. Giveaway is up for the Twitch viewers only this time. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. Good luck to everybody. Good luck to everybody. So let me catch up on chat. Give me a second. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. World versus World, the nerfs in general, they seem like that's the only, like, where they want to have meta changes. Thanks a lot, Stelios. Really appreciate the 1 sub. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. But yeah, like World versus World nerfs in general, I'm with you there, Viz. I think they are not like hitting the nail too much. It's like, yeah, they change a little bit, but not like insanely hard. It's like not insanely crazy. It's it's like, I think personally, I think Divisions of Eternity specs, it's okay to have some of them. If they just nerf them, it's a little bit sad. I really like to have, like, for example, Luminary. I like to have Troubadour. I would have liked to have more Warrior in there as well, like Paragon, but I don't know. It's a little bit weird. Thanks, nice hype train. Let's keep it going. Thanks, Carbifed. Really appreciate it, Prime. Thanks a lot. Again, you have more luck to win the giveaway now. 400 gems are on the line. So, yeah, sponsored by ArenaNet. Be sure to enter. You have to be a follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. We will draw the giveaway winner in like a couple of minutes. A little bit. We have to leave it open for a little bit. Otherwise, some people might sleep and forget to enter. Yeah. Warrior released the Forgotten class. Yeah. Like, exactly. Like, Warrior is like, for me, I was like the only 2 classes that I would say I expected at least something. Yeah. In terms of like reworking or like changing something. Was Warrior and was Revenant. I think Revenant is in such a weird spot in PvE that you have only Conduit. Everything else, no one plays. It's really like, I'm obviously a little bit overselling it, but I'm still believing that like Herald, that Renegade, they are so like not played. Vindicator, it's crazy. So I think I was hoping for some changes with the balance patch, but Warrior as a whole is also, if you look at the Wingman crafts, it's so little how many people play it. It's just Paragon and some Berserker mains. It's like Spellbreaker and especially Blade Swords, they are not common at all. And I was hoping for something there. So yeah, video about that coming actually quite soon. I want to get more Warrior love out there, for sure. If it says failed to enter, you're already in. So don't worry, don't worry. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is like the nerfs, I agree with you that the nerfs are changing stuff, but I was hoping for like actual like changes in the meta that people will like. I think people were not really negative, at least for me. I think it was not negative that we had to use like new specs. I think that was fun. I think it's sad that they nerf it so much that you will probably see like Firebrand being the king again and like maybe even Chronomancer, who knows? But that is a little bit sad. That is sad to me. Like I'm World versus World meta is quite sad. Thanks a lot for the Prime. Really appreciate it, Chupa. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Yes, of course. If you want to join my guild, I can invite you. If I didn't see your message, just write again. That goes for not only the guild invites, but for any questions, anything that you have, just write again. If I missed it the first time, that's not a big deal. I will answer it again or answer it this time, hopefully. How do you get experience? Just by playing the game. If you play PvE, you get a lot of experience. There we go. Another guild invite. Yes. Give me a second. There we go. Thanks a lot. Nice. 100% hype train. Level 1 achieved. Thanks, Mr. 12. Really appreciate it. Let's keep the hype going. You know, I see you are all hyped for the 400 gems. I like it. I like it. Thanks a lot for the Prime. Thanks a lot for the Prime. Yeah. Yeah. See you, David. See you, David. Yeah, I think it's really sad. Herald, look, no, I'm not saying Herald is bad. Let's swap to Herald, because this is something that a lot of people misunderstand. I'm not saying Herald is a bad class. I actually buy. Where is my Revenant? I don't even know anymore. Where's my Revenant? That's how often I was on the Revenant before. It's Conduit. Yeah, thanks a lot, Beerdeck. Really appreciate the Prime. Thanks a lot. Nice, we keep it going. We keep it going, the hype here. But yeah, Herald is not a bad class. Not at all. Look at this. Renegade, Conduit, Conduit, Conduit. I have 4 Conduit and 1 Renegade. Okay, I guess I need to... What is the like healing Conduit? Conduit? Okay, this one I can use. So, the thing is... Herald is not bad. Herald is not a bad class, especially if you want to have safe boon up time. Boon up time on Herald is insanely easy to get. You know, just activating your like 4 buttons and pulsing. Look at this. You get like a really big radius of boons where you pulse quickness, where you pulse even protection in your rotation. This is a really good build. And it's really sad that they nerf Condition Herald, which is, in my opinion, a really fun build. And they don't change Power Herald at all. I think Power Herald needed at least a little bit of improvement. Even with everything getting nerfed, it's still on the lower end of the damage output. So I personally think this is like, look at this. This is such a safety net of boons. So I think this is a cool build and it's really fun to play. But the numbers are still too low in the damage, even after all the other classes getting nerfed. Thanks a lot for the Prime with fun with Anola. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Keep it going. Let's keep it going. But yeah, this is just what I feel, you know. Is it hard to make an Oreen Legendary? Blue one? The Chomek one? Or do you mean the Sovon one? So the Sovon one, where is it? The Sovon one is pretty easy. The Chomek one is very easy. Both of them are, they cost, effectively they cost a little bit of gold, like 400 gold or something if I remember correctly. And they cost some time investment, but the time is like really marginal. It's like 2 hours or 3 hours of like doing some meta events, doing some grind or something. It's really not bad. It's like effectively 2 hours maximum for most of them if you do it fast, and just a little bit of gold. Nice a lot. Thanks a lot, chat. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for the tier 1. Really appreciate it. Let's keep it going. If you're keeping it going like that, we're reaching the sub goal directly, and we'll do another giveaway like for 500 gold instantly as well. So I think you want to make my purse in the game like completely empty. Crazy. Let's keep it going. I'm not complaining. Yeah, you can of course also get a guild invite. Holy moly, guys. Let's keep it going. I like it. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it, Malton. Okay, we have 2 more guild invites. Give me a second. Give me a second, of course. There we go. Should be good. Yeah. I think Herald for World vs. World is also not bad. It's again not a build that is like meta. Especially after the changes, it will actually, I think like a DPS Herald might come back in World vs. World. Thanks a lot, Psychasa. Really appreciate it for the Prime. I heard, let's keep it going. Yeah, exactly. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Malnot says. Thanks, Psychasa. Really appreciate it. Crazy subs today. Thanks. Really appreciate it. Yeah. But yeah. The Sovon one is like, in my opinion, like it's the nicest one to get, because you can just do 1 Dragon's End and it's really easy to get. But that's just me. But yeah, I was talking about Herald in World vs. World. Herald in World vs. World will probably make a comeback. Like Hammer Power Herald with like Sword and like Chalice and I think it's like Chalice and Glint will be really good. Thanks, Vesh. I really appreciate it. Tier 2. Nice. Really good. Thanks. Really appreciate it. Such crazy support today. Hope you're enjoying the stream as well and not only in for the giveaway. But yeah. Yeah, you have to, if you want to join my guild, you have to write me your account name with those like numbers here, with the letters plus the numbers. So like the whole name, then I can invite you. If it's just your in-game name, that will not be enough. Yeah. Thanks, appreciate it. A lot, chat. Really nice. Thanks a lot for your support. Yeah. Guild invite. Yeah, of course, rocks. Crazy. Everyone wants in the guild. Yeah. I mean, we don't do... Wait, give me a second. It's like we don't do that much guild activities in the guild, but if you have questions, if you want to get the guild buffs and stuff, that is, of course, the place to be in our guild. Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, we have a giveaway currently going on for 400 gems sponsored by ArenaNet. If you want to participate, you have to be a Twitch follower, of course, to win. And subscribers get 5 times the luck. So all of you that just subscribed, you have a higher chance of winning, even like retroactively. So if you entered the giveaway before, you will still get higher chance of winning. And you can, of course, see that there are not that many people currently in the giveaway. So we have way more viewers than we have the giveaway entries. So the chances are good that you win, actually. And if you continue pushing with the subs here, we will have to do another giveaway. For like 500 gold, like I mentioned here. Yeah. Oh, so many guild invites. Don't even get to play the game. That's fine. That's fine. We take this. We take this. If I missed some of you, just ask again. Don't worry. You know, I have no problems of like having questions asked again. I got you, Snowdrop there. So 1-1. Yeah, so 1-1. I mean, it's actually pretty fine English. It just sounds fun. You know, I wanted to say the blue one. Yeah, but not always repeat blue. Yeah. Of course, chat, you can also join. No problem, no problem. Just give me always a second. I might read your message a little bit later. The community is growing, exactly, yeah. Yeah, the good part about is like the guild. I want to showcase this here. Why a guild, even if you don't do that much in the guild and just use it as a glorified chat room, going in your guild hall and going to, for example, not only, where is it? Here. Going to those like synthesizers here, you get some like materials every day. That's pretty nice. This gives a little bit of gold back. But the important part for veterans is going to this Nathan bartender here. If you talk to this guy, you get buffs, and you can select one buff per character that will be infinitely going. So for example, you can get 10% more karma. You can get 10% more magic find, or for me the important ones, reward deck gain for PvP and World vs. World experience gain buff, and guild experience boost. This is permanent for this character until you switch it. And this is really valuable. You have to do that for every character, but this is just a good thing to get. Like really like important. Yeah. If it says fail to enter the giveaway, don't worry, you're already in the giveaway. Yeah. What's faster to level from 20 to 80 between Warrior and Guardian? I would say Guardian is faster, but it really is like just preference. Both of them are really good to level. They have good mobility, good damage, good defense. It's just really good classes to level. Yeah. I would say Guardian is a bit better, but that's just my opinion. Yeah. If you want to enter the giveaway, !enter in the chat and you will be in, or !ticket, that works as well. Everything works. We have multiple commands. Yes, this is a plugin for the mount wheel here. It's really nice. It's called Blish Hut and the mount cursor add-on in there. If you want to get more information about that, you can type !mouse, because the blue dot here is also the same add-on, and then you will get this as well, what kind of setup you have there. Yeah. Exactly. The leveling process in Guild Wars 2 is exactly the same. It doesn't matter which class you play. It's just some classes have better core skills, core traits, core utilities that make you go faster or do more damage. So for example, Guardian Greatsword is insanely good, whereas for example, I don't know, what's a good example? I guess like short bow on Ranger is not the best option for leveling. Just like some classes have better weapons than others. That's the whole point. Thanks, Snowdrop, for posting the command. Exactly. Yeah. The OG one-time events. I did play some of them. Yes, I did do that. It was actually pretty like a very long time ago. I can't remember most of it. I have to be honest. It's like the original stuff. I played the game very casually, very casually. Let's do a Forge Steel. Let's do Forge Steel. What do we want to play? What do we want to play in Forge Steel? What's a good thing to do? Something with range damage. Guess we could play some. Do we have some Gale Shot set up? Let's check it up. I want to play some more Ranger on stream as well. There we go. That's it. Yeah. If you played the last couple of years, you have a different. Oh my god, they're already really far. That's a leech if I've ever seen one. Ha! I like it. That's like at least half of the thing already done. It gives so many magnetite shards nowadays, Forge Steel. So it's really good if you want to farm some raid currency. And I think it also gives an LI. It's really good. But yeah, I would say if you are playing the game in the last, let's say, 5 years, you have experienced the game at its best in terms of like how the content is put out. If you played the game in the first 1-2 years, they were not sure how to manage like Living World, how to manage expansions. So there were a lot of scuffed releases, a lot of scuffed content patterns. So I would say you didn't miss much. I have to be honest. There were a lot of events that were fun at the time, but if you look back at it, you would rather not have to do it again. Pressing F all the time, stuff like that. Yeah, it was not crazy important. Yeah. I'm not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, welcome, Sil, by the way. Yeah, exactly. Like shortbow Ranger to level is probably not the best choice, though. But if you like it, sure, go for it. I mean, you use it in your try-hard content, yeah. Yeah, hardcore Guild Wars 2. You can use it, of course. I guess it's a ranged weapon. Yeah. Is Heal Warrior a thing if it is with spec and weapons are good for you? Yes, I have a video about 2 Heal Warrior build guides already. You can watch Berserker Healer, which is really weird. You are going insane Berserk mode. Now they have the thing there, of course, when I'm already there. But the best option right now is Healing Paragon. Maybe I play it later. Alacrity Healing Paragon is extremely good. It's really easy to play, very fun to play in my opinion, and one of the best Alacrity healers if you don't need a lot of different utility skills. I think it's a really good one. I can highly recommend it. Yeah. My favorite ranger, I don't know. It depends on the situation. Like in PvP, I like to play, for example, Untamed. In PvE, I like to play Gale Shot the most right now. I think they are all like pretty similar, but and for healer, of course, the only option for healer. Where's the only option for healer is Druid, in my opinion. Healing Untamed I made a build guide about it recently, and that was actually pretty fun as well. Healing Untamed, but this is more niche. Yeah, I would say in most situations in PvE, if I play DPS, I play Soul Beast or I play Gale Shot. Right now, I like to play Gale Shot because it's something new, but that always depends on the situation. The last 2 streams I didn't play Gale Shot at all, just because, oh my god, they outplayed me with all the things. But yeah, that's just how it is. Exactly, yeah. Kaka Queen runs with like insane amount of FPS. That was the back in the old days. Like that was crazy. Yeah. Would you say Dragon Hunter is better for raids and fractals than Willbender? Yes, for a new player, 100%. It's in my opinion easier to play and it's safer. So it's like it doesn't really matter what type of like content you do. In most situations, Dragon Hunter is better for most players. It's easier to get into and not as punishing. But keep in mind, it's all about if you like something. If you don't like Dragon Hunter playstyle at all, play Willbender. You know, you should not play something that is not as fun to you as others. It's really important. You should really play something that you enjoy and have fun with it. Yeah. Exactly, champion train in Queensdale. That was peak content of Guild Wars 2 for sure. Peak content. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was actually, I'm not choking this, I was actually trying to, or like thinking about doing a heal Gale Shot build, but it's like, it's really like people could report you for playing that in a group, because it's just so bad. You have nothing in the traits that supports it other than like, probably like Healing Spirit and stuff like that. It's pretty like grieving at this point. So I did not make a video about it. I don't want to make videos that are actually not like real builds. I want to share like actual builds. Yeah. Any Healing Revenant build would you recommend? They are all okay. I think the best one is Healing Conduit. Healing Conduit is probably the best one right now by quite a big margin, because it actually has more utility, more flexibility than the others, and it's also really good with stability and healing output, which others have a bit of a struggle with. So I would say Conduit is the best one. Yeah. I was thinking of building Gale Shot, but waiting for nerfs first. I think Gale Shot is one of the ones that gets a little bit less affected. It's already in a decent spot, and it will not get nerfed as much as other builds. So I think it's okay. Yeah. Yeah. Heal Holo. Heal Holo is impossible to be played because it doesn't provide a boon. Heal Holo is like Heal Dragon Hunter in PvE. That is not possible to be played because you need some boon providence. Yeah, so you need Alacrity or Quickness, and in PvE Holosmith doesn't do that. Therefore, it's not possible to play that as a healer. Quickness Gale Shot would work, but like I said, it has essentially 0 healing access, and you would like probably grief your group insanely hard if you played that. But yeah, I think in my opinion it's okay. You don't need every build to be able to play it as a healer. I think that's completely fine that some elite specs are just not meant to be played as a healer. Forcing healers in every spec like they did with Antiquary, like they did with Conduit, I think that's a little bit unnecessary. I think like if they're not designed in that way, they don't need to have it. Yeah. Yeah, Conduit is better than Herald because it's just so power crept. Herald is like, by nature, should be better as a healer than Conduit because Herald has just a supportive legend, whereas Rasa is not really that supportive, it's more selfish. But sadly, Herald didn't get buffs like, I don't know, years in the last years. And this is the reason why Herald is just fallen behind. You know, if the other specs are just power crept, then at some point you need buffs to the older specs, and Herald didn't receive those, sadly. At least not in the healing regards. I don't know if they ever want to do that, or if they say, yep, that's not gonna happen. I hope they do, because Herald is one of my favorite Revenant specs. Maybe it's just nostalgia at this point, because, you know, I played it insane amount when Heart of Thorns released, because it was the new class with the new elite spec. But I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? What do you think about making an easy raid mode for new players? I was thinking this because me getting into Fractals was very easy because T1 is literally so simplified. So we have quick play raids, and they are somewhat the easy mode for raids, but sadly we don't have that for every raid boss. Essentially we only have it for the old strike bosses, which is, yeah, lackluster to say the least. So I'm with you there. I think an easy mode for raids would be awesome, especially if it would be very streamlined like quick play could be. So this is something that I hope they will do in the future, because they did quick play for Fractals, they did quick play for raids, and hopefully they will iterate on that and make it more like just huge in terms of what it is included in there. But I don't know. They did not communicate anything about this, what they will do in the future with it, if they will continue to do so, or if they just leave it like it is. We will have to see. We will have to see. I hope with you that this will happen, because I think we need more new players, and I think getting easy mode would help getting more players into those game modes. Yeah, I agree. I think Herald could be a balancing nightmare with its boon output, but it doesn't mean it needs to be some help. I don't know. I feel like Herald is... The problem is not necessarily that Herald is like nightmare to balance. I think you can make that argument for almost every class. It's more like that ArenaNet just forgot it, or just don't want to engage with it, because it's obviously not bad. It's just compared to the other things, it becomes bad because the other things are so good. That's why I think it's like Herald is like a good spot, especially Condition Herald before the nerfs. After the nerfs, it will be a bit like, okay, maybe not as good anymore, but still. I think like they should just look at classes that are underused, that are just not as good, and buff it. It's not because Herald is bad or like hard to balance. It's more like ArenaNet forgot. That's my guess there. Yeah. The quick play needed for Legendary Claws from Fractals was such a good idea to mix up veterans and new players. I agree. I think this is like what you need to do. That's the other thing, like the daily raids, I think do the same thing. Daily raids do that to some extent as well, because veterans do the daily raids, even though they did a full clear already. And in like quick play, that's the same thing. So I don't know. I feel like if they would do it a bit more, like the rewards are a bit more interesting to new players and veterans, while also having, in my opinion, somewhat healthy longevity as well. Like it's not like in quick play raids where you have like nowadays only unexperienced people, because there is essentially no reward for veterans. This is pretty concerning, but if they do it like in Fractal quick play, where you have even for veterans getting the infusion skins and stuff like that, this is pretty good, yeah. But I agree, like it's not perfect. Like all the quick plays are the first step. It's the first iteration of what it could be. But I think the Fractal quick play, in my opinion, is better than the raid quick play. At least in my opinion. It's yeah, I don't know. The raid quick play is just a little bit of a worse copy of it, in my opinion. Yeah. I feel like they literally rolled dice to decide which classes get favored, and Revenant lost and Guardian won. I don't know. For me, it's like I always don't exactly know what makes the decision in the balance team that a certain class is currently the one that needs the nerf. For example, I understand that Catalyst, especially like Quickness Catalyst, needs a nerf. I understand that. But why did they decide that specifically Catalyst, Ritualist, and Amalgam are the classes that need as a boon DPS over 50% boon duration? Why is it that those three get nerfed and not all the others? Like, for example, why doesn't Chronomancer get that? Why doesn't Herald get that? Why doesn't you know, in my opinion, that should be equal for all classes. Every class that wants to have permanent quickness, permanent alacrity as a DPS build should need a certain amount of boon duration so that you are treated equally. It doesn't need necessarily everyone needs exactly 20%, exactly 50%, but at least make it so that it needs not to play a full DPS build and then you equip a different trait. That is my opinion. But I can understand that they go with like step by step, but I still don't get why certain classes get like insane nerfs in one like balance patch, and then you have certain classes that get like multiple balance patches, no change at all. It's a little bit, yeah, weird. But you know, I'm just a veteran. I always want to mention this. I'm just a veteran that plays the game for probably way too much. So if you are a new player and listening to this, it's not that classes are bad. I think the PvE balance is in one of the best, if not the best spaces, and like where it is in terms of like just raw numbers, it has ever been. So don't worry about it. It's really like, it's extremely good. It really is. Every class is playable in the highest pieces of content. Every class is strong in my opinion. And every class has really good builds in all like situations. Yeah, you can play a healer, support, an offensive supporter, full DPS with almost every spec in every situation. It's extremely good. So I would say, don't listen to me here as a veteran saying, oh, the balance is like, we need to adjust it. I'm just talking about like how to improve it even better. This is the really important part. I want to make the game even better in the balance. I don't want to say the balance is bad. I want to say the balance could be even better if they listen to some of the things here. Yeah. Just want to mention this. So, I think the reliance on the benchmarks is part of the problem. I wonder if you could ask 1,000 average players to do their best benchmark on a golem or something like that. The problem is, like, I always mention this. I understand what you're saying and I'm with you. I actually think it is a problem. I think it is a problem that they're using the benchmarks to balance. But what would be the alternative? Because you mentioned one possible alternative here, but the alternative, in my opinion, is actually quite hard, you know? It's quite hard to get anything else than a benchmark that is reliable to say, okay, this is now really saying, okay, the community agrees to this being the standard, you know, the gold standard. Because the benchmarks are really easy. We know this is the highest numbers we can get. You can balance around this. But I don't know. It's for me, it's really hard to say this would be the new standard. I don't know. I just don't. I just don't. Yeah. Would be dope when they make a small note what they nerf. Elementalist nerfs are simple. I better condition Mirage Conduit Arena Net Dev got out DPS by an Elementalist is screaming for nerfs. I don't know. I have no clue if that's the case. I will not judge about stuff that I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. There we go. Are both Arc DPS and Blizzard supported, allowed by ArenaNet? Yes, those are officially allowed if you're using the normal functions. So the functions that are not, so to say, reading memory other than the allowed one. So if you're using Arc DPS regular, not any plugins that are not allowed, or using Blizzard normally without any plugins that are not allowed, then it's completely fine. They will not ban you for it. It's even completely legal. Yes. Otherwise, I would be banned instantly if I do that on stream. So yes, don't worry. Don't worry. It's fine. We want quickness. That's what we want. Are they not able to extract the average DPS from all raid encounters and average it to see whether the power creep is real? The problem with this is that you, first of all, balance is not only raids. Yes, that is one part of it, but balance is also about open world. Balance is about like fractals. Balance is just for the general performance, even for the really high try-hard players, you know, for the players that go for infallible achievement, where you need to do a raid wing without going downstat in a specific time in challenge mode. This is like also needed to balance. Balance affects everybody. And I'm only talking about PvE. If they also consider PvP and World vs. World, it's even more than that. So this is something that is very challenging to balance. And in my opinion, and to make something that is completely like only one thing, and this is the, you know, this is what you look at, is probably wrong. You have to look at all the pictures, all like open world players. You have to look at raids. You have to look at fractals. You have to look at high-end players and have to find a middle ground there. And this is, in my opinion, the most challenging aspect. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't want to be in their shoes. Yeah. I don't want to be in their shoes. Yeah, exactly. The golem passing is a perfect scenario. It's like, I tank. Yeah, golem is the perfect, really the absolute highest number. You will not reach those numbers in real fights, typically at least. There are some fights where you could reach it, like Merced Overseer or something like that, where you have essentially nothing that actually stops it. But yeah, this is pretty much it. Thanks a lot, Crispy Gamer. Really appreciate it, Prime. Just to mention it here, we have a giveaway currently going on. So if you want to enter, you have to be a follower, !enter or ticket, one of those two in the Twitch chat. And subscribers get 5 times the luck. So you have a chance now of winning way more. That's good. So I will be the tank. That's good. That's good. That's good. You have to be a bit careful with the positioning. Always here on Gorseville, I have to be a bit careful so that I provide actually my boons and stuff to my allies in range, because obviously you are the tank, you're standing away from the group. There we go. Should be fine. Provide blocks, provide everything to my allies. Looks good, looks good, looks good. Yeah, I mean, this is the power creep that I talked about. You know, it's really the power creep in Guild Wars 2 is so like, previously this was always an easy boss, but nowadays it's like, if you ever see any attack other than the CC attack, you're probably having a really bad group. Yeah, and I hope this will be fixed a bit with the next balance patch. I will catch up like a little bit with the chat after this fight. Yeah, the giveaway is 400 gems. You have sponsored by ArenaNet. That's what I want to say. And yeah, we will do that. And if we reach the subscribers, which we are really close to, we will do another 500 gold giveaway as well. So yeah, don't hold back, you know, if you want to win even more. So that's that. Yeah, that's a little bit sad, I agree. Like the Antiquary, or there are some nerfs in there that are a little bit sad. This is definitely something that I agree on, yeah. So there we go. I'm not a big fan of KP. So you asked the question here about gatekeeping CMs and stuff like that. I think KP is something, it's a bit annoying. I can understand that new players, or that you don't want to have new players. You know, new players can be a bit frustrating if you're a veteran and you want to get a fast kill and you don't want to have someone that is actually that never did it before. Sure, but asking for 20 KP for like a challenge mode that is not even that hard, this is pretty weird. Pretty weird to me. Provide this. Provide some boons again. We have to be a bit careful here. Yeah, we got some X. I guess that's usual here for Kosovo. We got some act people. CC. Could have taken more CC though. It's fine. Very good. Yeah, I mean, that's why I like Troubadour nowadays so much more than Chronomancer, because it's just like you have so much safety with like just providing like insane amount of like invulnerability, healing, stability. It's just really good. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Snorter puts it quite well with the balance. Yeah, I agree. But like Killproof, maybe I need to do a video about Killproof, you know, following up on the question earlier with the Killproofs, because I think Killproof in Guild Wars 2 is something that is like, Guild Wars by nature doesn't support anything to check your experience. And that is an issue because you want to play with experienced players, but that leads to the toxicity of Killproof. So what can you do? What, like, you know, I understand both sides. I understand new players' frustration with Killproof, but I understand that a veteran wants to actually have some way to check if someone actually did it before. Yeah. I don't know. I think the balance in Guild Wars 2, maybe it's not great compared to other games, but for me personally, the balance is really good compared to the balance Guild Wars 2 had before. Yeah, so that is something that I can consider. I'm not considering balance compared to other big games because I just talk about balance in comparison to previous Guild Wars 2 balances or patches. Yeah, hope that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, KP, I know a lot of people have strong opinions and people don't like KP, and I think it's a really bad system, but I think I can understand people using it to find experienced players. I'm not saying it's perfect, not at all actually, but I think it's a system that can be used to find experienced people, but it is not like fail-proof, and it's also not like essentially very healthy for the game, but I don't know. I see both sides, and it's just like by nature. I think like if ArenaNet doesn't support like any in-game like metrics to see how experienced someone is, then you'll have players asking for essentially some slightly toxic stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It's quite challenging because you will want to get the clear and don't want to have 9 people that never did it before, and you will probably not get the clear then. I don't know. It's really challenging to come up with a solution that suits both parties. Yeah. And I think that's just like, that's a lot of times the issue. It's not only about KP, it's also about balance. You have always the casual players that never reach the benchmarks, and then you have the tryhard players that play only quickness catalyst because it's just the best quickness DPS build. So it's like, okay, who do you listen to? It's again the same issue. You have to listen to both parties, and if you do something in the middle, both will be unhappy. So it's like, okay, how can you fix this issue? I don't know. You will. That's why I don't want to be a developer, because they never have like an audience behind them that actually tells, okay, this was a perfect balance patch. There will always be a rather big fraction of the game, of the community, that says, okay, this was the worst balance patch or the worst content update in existence, because whatever they do, there's always a part of the community, especially if you have as many different community aspects as Guild Wars 2 does, like PvP, World versus World, PvE, open world community, raid community, that you will always have a big part of the community that is upset with something you did. That goes for kill boost, that goes for balance. It doesn't matter, and that's obviously an issue. That is just by nature an issue. Yeah. Yeah. I think KP is for players that have it. It's a good system, somewhat. For players that don't have it, it can be frustrating. But I think it's not like impossible to get into KP. You know, you can go into training group, you can go into Discords, you can find groups without KP, you can create your own groups. Yeah, I think it's like you can circumvent the toxicity by it. But for new player that looks at like the LFG in raids and finds players that are only looking for like 250 KP of like Veil Guardian to actually clear it, this is something that is obviously not healthy for the first look of the game. Yeah, for sure. I think it's really like, I can see both sides. That's just, I do that in my YouTube discussions, I do that in my tier list. I try to understand why people come up with a certain opinion and try to see what their point is. I'm not necessarily always agreeing with everything, but I want to understand why they have this just like opinion, why they come up with this standpoint. And this is something that I really try to like stress on stream, but I also hope that ArenaNet also tries to do that when they listen to other players, that they try to listen to different parts of the community and hopefully find a solution that suits most players. Yeah. Is Matchal that fragile like Elementalist? It depends. Mesmer is less fragile in terms of numbers, and you also have invulnerability baseline in your kit, so I would say most players would say Mesmer is less fragile, but I would also say that even Elementalist is not really that fragile if you play it well. You know, it sounds a little bit toxic, I'm sorry, but if you play very well in the game, you don't really feel the fragility of Elementalist nowadays anymore. You have so much just baseline stuff that you can also use that makes you more survivable. Yeah, I would say. Okay, after this we will draw the giveaway winner. So last, let's say, a couple of minutes before we draw the giveaway winner. Exclamation mark enter in the Twitch chat. You have to be a follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. And of course, good luck to everybody. 400 gems are on the line, sponsored by ArenaNet. Last 3 minutes going. Yes, I have of course seen the nerf announcement for the just numbers of the balance of, like, for example, so 1 and stuff like that. So that will be interesting to see how big the numbers are. We don't know yet. I can talk about the balance nerf in a second after we draw the giveaway winner as well. But I think that is just justified. You know, if you nerf the damage output by 10%, you should probably also nerf the content that is balanced around having those damage numbers. Yeah. There we go. Did it. That was quite nice. Very good. There we go for some extra shards. And that's that. Yes, a non-Saturday stream. Exactly. Thanks. Glad you like the stream. Quick Starlet meta. I mean, we could do a Starlet meta as well if we are currently at it, but I'm not sure if I can get in. I hope that the Starlet meta will get quicker. You know, that's my big hope here. Oh, we actually got in, I think. Crazy. Yeah, I was hoping that this meta that we will now do will get quicker. I agree with you. I really hope that this will be the case. But who knows, you know, maybe they just nerf it by like 1% and say this is what we expect to be changing in open world, and they have a 15% damage nerfs, and then you have like 1% of the HP nerfed. I hope they adjust it accordingly. But who knows? Who knows? Okay, so it's time. It's time. We will draw the winner now. Enough stalling. Good luck to everybody. Good luck. And it's time. It's time. And the winner is... See, who is the winner? Chat. I mean, that's deserved, you know, that's deserved. Yeah. Congrats. Not rigged, by the way. Not rigged. Congrats. Just, you know, let me know if you're on Steam, let me know. If not, let me know as well. Congrats. Just let me know, chat, if you're a Steam player or not. If you are not a Steam player, then I can send you the gem code. Let me know. I mean, you're at least here, so we don't have to reroll. That is already a really good thing. Really good thing, actually. So just let me know if you're playing from the official launcher or if you're playing from Steam. You're on Steam? Then I will send you the gold instead. Let me know your account name then, please. Let me know your in-game account name. Let's check how much 400 gems are. Then I can send you the in-game 160 gold. Let's check how much gold is. Exactly, Kek W. Exactly. Exactly, let's check. We will round. We will give you 110 gold, I guess, something like that. Yes, 110 gold. That's it. So, I will answer the question in a second. Give me a second. If you just want to get the chat, the gold, just write me your in-game name in the chat, and I can send you the gold. Exactly. Because the thing is, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. Thanks. Because the problem is, like, sadly, I cannot send you gem codes, or you cannot use gem codes to Steam players for whatever reason. So it's just like, okay, that's how it goes. So that's pretty much the value of 400 gems. Yeah, I will be generous and give you 120. So there we go. Congrats. And you don't have food, so take this. Very good. Okay, let's catch up on the chat. Give me a second. I'm playing Amalgam. I enjoy the playstyle, but sometimes I get too tired of kit swapping. Some days I just want to play a more chill class. Any ideas of builds? I can play that good in open worlds and raids. I don't grief my squad on raids. I mean, I would say probably Rifle Mechanist is probably one of the best ones that you can play there. It's just really safe, really good in open world, really good in raids. It's always top DPS in unexperienced groups because it's just really, really easy. Like, it really is. So probably that's my top pick there. I'm a returning player after 3 years. First stop, I do all my fractals and raids of the moment. Have all classes and all expansion. I love the bow, but not more the ranger. After knowing this for you, what classes can I use? I would say Dragon Hunter uses a bow and is really good with it. Like, it's really fun as well. If you want to use a bow, for example, you can use as well on Longbow Warrior, but this is like a Condi build and it's one of the harder builds to play. I would say Dragon Hunter is probably one of the best bow users if you want to use a longbow. If you want to use a short bow and not a ranger, that is, then probably the best option in PvE is like Revenant, like Condition Revenant. But I would say longbow on Guardian. Dragon Hunter is probably one of the best. Thanks a lot for the Prime, by the way. I love that drink. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate the Prime. 4 months already. Crazy. Yeah. Nice. Thanks to you, I started playing Guild Wars 2 3 weeks ago. Nice. Glad I could convince some more players to join the game. That's good. That's good. That's how we like it. Thanks. Hopefully you're enjoying the stream, my content. And if you have any questions, just ask. You know, I'm always happy to answer if I can. Scrapper is good. Yeah. Okay. So I think we almost caught up. We can now finally concentrate on the game again. So let's play a bit of like the meta here. Can someone please send me to help jump over a wall? I only have the Raptor, not go over the wall. I don't know which wall. If you're in the guild, you can always ask in the guild. Someone might be online and help you. We are always a friendly community and stuff. Otherwise, just ask on map chat. You know, map chat, there's always someone. Guild Wars 2 community in the map chat is always really helpful. Just ask in the map chat and ask for help. People will come. Yeah. Will Dragon Hunter still be good after the nerfs? So Dragon Hunter is one of the classes that will get quite a bit of a nerf, yeah, sure. But it's still a good class. Like I mentioned earlier, I think almost every class that gets nerfed is good after the nerfs, yeah. There is almost no class that I would say, oh, this is not playable after that. And Dragon Hunter is no exception. Dragon Hunter will be a good class to play after the nerfs. Yes, you will have less damage, but you still have the crazy good utility with the blocks. You have crazy good range if you play with longbow. I think it's still a good class. So if you want to play Guardian, probably still one of the best ones to choose. Yeah, at least in my opinion. One of the best Guardian specs after the patch. From just, especially for a new player, I would say. Can you tell me some builds that beat Thief in World vs. World? So if you're talking about roaming, I think if you play against a really good Thief, Thief is one of the best roaming specs. Why? Because Thief can always disengage. And that's just by nature broken in World vs. World. Yeah. So if the Thief is about to lose a 1-on-1, they just run away and get out of combat, get their cooldowns back and come back. So if you're playing against a good Thief and you're playing not Thief, you will probably have a hard time. That's just by nature. That's how it is. The best part about how to counterplay a Thief is typically to just try to burst them. Yeah. So either with conditions or with power damage. So if they engage, they are very evasive. Yeah. Typically they dodge, they have evades in their attacks and stuff like that. But they're typically quite squishy as well. So as soon as they are engaging and want to deal damage on you, you should not play defensive. Of course, that's also an option. Oops. But you should also try to deal damage to them so that you force them into a defensive state where they don't deal that much damage anymore. I have a full video about it on my YouTube channel. It's sadly not very popular, but I try to put in a lot of effort for that. How to counter Thief. That's how the video is called, I think. And this is like 10 to 15 minutes analysis how to counterplay Thief. So it's way better than I could do it here on stream, so be sure to check that one out. I have that for a couple of classes, not all of them, but for Thief, which is one of the common ones to annoy new players specifically, or even veterans, so be sure to check that one out, yeah. I returned to Guild Wars 2 after a 12-year break. Welcome back, welcome back. We like that. More returning players, more new players. Yes. Dropped out before the expansion release. Back then you had to buy Guild Wars 2 Basic Edition. Yeah, that was definitely the old experience. Which is okay, you know, the game is after all big enough and like great enough in the core game to justify a price tag behind that. But yeah, nowadays you get the expansions and you will get the core game as well. And of course you can even try the game for free, you know. You can use my links in the description of the YouTube stream or the Twitch stream. And you will be able to play the game for free. You will not get the expansion content, of course, but you can try it out. It's I would say essentially a free trial. It's not as good as the base game was back then because you have some restrictions. You can, for example, not use the trading post fully and stuff like that. But it's definitely worthwhile to try it out to see if you like the combat, if you like the just design of the game in general. And if you like it, you can purchase any expansion. Of course, if you want to support me, use my referral links. And then you will be good and can start and experience the game as it is currently meant to be experienced. Yeah, exactly. When I stopped the game, I used Druid as Celestial stat and do PvP with damage and some heal, but now I think it's not a valid option. Yeah, Celestial stats are, especially on Druid, not the best option anymore. It's just not, like, doesn't work that well nowadays anymore. It's good in a solo situation if you're playing open world solo, but if you're playing with a group, it's better to play full heal Druid or full DPS Druid. Yeah. How is Thief nowadays? Been taking a break for a while? I would say Thief is, people underestimate Thief like very heavily. I think especially Spectre is extremely good, which is the End of Dragons elite spec for Thief. It's really good. It is not something that is like for everybody. You know, it has a specific, it looks, how can I say? It looks a little bit like a darkish, like edgy Thief spec with a lot of support baked in. So it's not for everybody. So if you like an assassin playstyle, that is not Spectre. Spectre is more of a supportive, condition-heavy build, but this is really fun and really strong. Good support, good damage, stuff like that. And other than that, all the other Thief specs, they're typically way more like focused on assassin playstyle. So I would say Thief is in PvE in a really good spot. People underestimate it. In competitive modes, Thief is like, especially PvP, it's really good. In World versus World, yeah, it's mostly a roamer. If you want to play it in like a 50 versus 50, yeah, probably not the spec that you want to play there. But if you want to play in small scale roaming, stuff like that, Thief is really good. In PvE, Thief is really good, underrated. And in PvP, Thief is extremely good in ranked. Yeah, especially like Daredevil and even Spectre. Yeah. Nice, you got the wall. Very good. Thanks for helping out, Snowdrop. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, retargeting is really good as well. That is a good point. Of course, Northgrim here. If you like outplay them because they have a specific target and stuff like that, that is extremely good, extremely valuable. On Mirage, you can do that. On like Messman in general, you can do that. But this is just a general rule of thumb. If you want to play against thieves, or if you want to become a better thief, goes hand in hand, is to understand when the evade frames end, when you can actually juke them with like teleports and stuff like that, or when you can CC chain them. If you want to get better at a class, or if you want to get better against a class, it's always understanding what makes the class strong or what makes the class, so to say, have a weakness. And then you will, oh my god, we failed. Classic. But yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Rox. I agree with you. Like when Guild Wars 2 launched, buy it at the, I don't know how much it was back then, how much you had to spend. I don't know. I think the original game cost like 50 euro. I'm pretty sure it was pretty expensive when it came out back in 2012. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to spread misinformation, but I think it was pretty expensive, but it's worth it, you know? Nowadays, you get it for free. It's crazy. It is crazy. It is just a good game, and I think it's worth, even back then it was worth it. Nowadays, it's like obviously insane value. Yeah. Condition Daredevil, Dagger can be viable for new player who want one build for all PvE content. Yes, Condition Daredevil is a really good build in solo situations. It's a good build in a group situation, especially as a DPS build in harder content. And it's okay in Fractals. I would say in Fractals it's probably the weakest, but even there it's okay. Yeah, it's a rather bursty DPS build. for conditions, that is. So it's pretty like decent build. It's obviously not the best, because in Fractals you want to have power builds typically, but if you like the playstyle, it's really good. And you can play a power Daredevil as well with Dagger if you really wanted to. But in Fractals, it's probably the weakest, but it's still a decent option. Yeah. Exactly. Is there a good power core thief option that can do comparable damage? Yes, you have that. There is a Snowcross build that does that. I think you're playing like... I think there is a Snowcross build for that. You can either play Dagger with power, or you can play Staff. But Staff is obviously locked behind Soto. So if you don't have a core... If you only have the core game, that would be not an option. In general, like core builds in Guild Wars 2, if you play like a core warrior, core guardian, core thief, they typically get to high numbers because of relics, because of weapons that you get access with expansions. So I would say there are not that many core builds that are insane in terms of like damage output that are fully core, but you can play Dagger core thief, that is okay. Yeah. Yeah, makes sense, Rox. You know, that might be a different, you know, at 2012, I think it was quite high, but there might be a sale like a couple of years later, or maybe you got it more, like, so to say, easier. Yeah, for sure, for sure. It was 60 at the start. I mean, that was even higher then, you know. So I think it was worth it back then. You know, you could argue with me there, but I think the game is like, they developed it for 10 years or something. It's a good game, you know, the core game. So I think it's, in my opinion, it was worth it back then, yeah. But yeah, I mean, nowadays you get it essentially for free, and if you purchase like any expansion, you literally get it for free, the core game. So I would say it's really like really good like value. Yeah, I don't play Final Fantasy, unfortunately, no. Yeah, I mean, that is like, yeah, the Final Fantasy is always, you can use that very well to compare things. But I think the good point here is also that I want to bring up, Guild Wars 2 does a bad job in comparison to Final Fantasy with making clear that the game is not free to play. Guild Wars 2 is more having a free trial than Final Fantasy. That's what I want to say about the game. Guild Wars 2 has a free-to-play option, but this free-to-play option is more like a free trial and is pretty much exactly the same as the Final Fantasy XIV free trial. I think the Final Fantasy XIV free trial is a bit bigger, but in Guild Wars 2, you get the core game, you get like to experience different classes and all that stuff, but you cannot go to expansion areas, none of them. You cannot go to and experience like the full gold making and stuff like that well, but you can experience like how the game feels. So I would say it's probably a little bit bad marketing. You want to say it's a free trial, then it's not really free to play. But there, that's just wanted to make that clear here. I just started playing your Firebrand all game modes build with Minstrel gear. Is there a way to play this or similar build with more DPS for solo open world? Yes, you can switch to Celestial. If you switch to full Celestial, you get more damage and you are completely fine in terms of like survivability and healing. Yes, that is a very good option as well. So that would be my go-to. Like Minstrel is for World versus World really good, and for full healing in like raids and stuff. But if you want to play more aggressively in easier raids or in open world and solo situations, go for full Celestial. I have like a full DPS or like a solo Firebrand build with full Celestial build on my channel as well. You can check that one out as well. But yeah, full Celestial is probably the way to go there. Yeah, exactly. You know, that's the difference. Final Fantasy has a like monthly subscription fee, and that is like, in my opinion, justified if you have a game that has like insane amount of content quality and put out value. And Guild Wars 2 doesn't have that, so you have to purchase the expansions and then you are good. You know, you don't have to do any other like purchases anymore. Yeah, sure, you can purchase some gems if you want to get some gem store items, but you can also use your gold to do that. You don't need to actually invest any actual real world money into the game other than the expansions. And this is a really big strength for people that just want to play the game, don't want to invest like continuous money, because if you play Guild Wars 2 for 10 years, you essentially have to purchase the expansions if you want, which costs like a 100 euro or something like that, or a bit more than that if you want to get all of them. But if you play 10 years of Final Fantasy straight, you have to like get, I don't know, I think it's like $10 the subscription fee or something. So you have to pay $100, over $100 per year. So that would be like $1,000 for 10 years. So that's quite a lot. Yeah, sure, the quality or the quantity might be higher, depends on who you ask, but it's definitely a bigger money sink as well. So yeah, definitely worth considering. I think both games are great games. I don't want to judge here. I'm just saying Guild Wars 2 is way more welcoming for players that don't want to spend a lot of money. Definitely the case. Yeah. Exactly, you know, even like the living world content, which also gives you content, is earnable with like gold in game as well, like purchasing gems with gold and then being able to get that. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, good point. Can you make a dual build tier list video? I love to see that. I think no one to do that. I know it's same like PvP builds, but PvP builds not focusing in one-on-one full experience. That is a good like idea. The problem is like, I noticed that over the last few months, maybe it's just my videos, but I think in general, like the PvP scene is getting smaller and smaller by the day. I think the PvP scene is extremely small. So I make a video about PvP and I like the game mode a lot. I play it quite a bit. It gets so little amount of views, like because most people just don't care. They don't play PvP at all, or if they play it, they don't care that much about builds and stuff like that. So I will do a tier list for you like that. I think it's a good idea. It's a fun tier list to do, but it's not something that is like that I'm very like happy that I can push out that content, you know? If I do my solo builds tier list, this is a content piece that I have fun doing, that you like watching, and it gets a lot of views. If I do the same tier list with the same effort put into PvP duelists, it gets like, I don't know, not even, it gets pretty much like 1% of the views, which is insane. That difference, you know, it's still Guild Wars 2 content, but it gets 1% of the views. It's crazy. The difference is really insane. Yeah. Recently I played the quick play raid again since the release. I find that 80% of the time people are dodging and leaving in the old raid encounters. The outline squad raid encounter. Yeah, this is, in my opinion, this is really sad. Like I said earlier that we talked about quick play raids, I think quick play raids has way more problems than fractal quick play. And this is one of the issues, that you have old line squad in there, you have K9 overlook in there, and those are just not ideal in terms of like people quitting, people not knowing the mechanics, people quitting after half an hour because they cannot kill it. It's painful. Yeah, that's one of my sub goals coming up after this one here, is that I do quick play raids on like stream permanently. Yeah, and pugging and stuff like that, just to have a fun chaos experience, because quick play raids is pretty painful for new players nowadays. It's a good system, but the amount of players that actually engage with it, like you should engage with it, is sadly, yeah, not as good as it was. Sad. Yeah. What about Power Spellbreaker Dagger Mace X? Is it low effort build tier? Yes, I think it's good in all content. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I would say it's not the easiest, but it's definitely a low effort build. Yeah, and it's good. It works in all content. It's not the tankiest though. Keep that in mind. Thanks a lot, Shadens. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for the gifted subs. And I think with this we trigger the next giveaway. Oh my god, guys, you make me poor here. No, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Really nice for the support here. Thanks for the gifted subs. Okay, I mean, I said it. You know, I live up to my word here. I will do another 500 gold giveaway now. I promised you that, so that will be coming. Give me a second. Let me kill this guy, and then we can set it up. But yeah, thanks a lot for the support. Yeah. Yeah, I don't play PvP at all, although you have convinced me to play more World vs. World and actually enjoying it. Yeah, I think World vs. World is a lower step up from PvE, because World vs. World is a bit more like you just play casually. You don't have to engage like with crazy tryhards, like dodging all the attacks and like seeing all the animations and getting like counterplayed and stuff like that. PvP is a bit more tryhard. That's why it's way harder to come from PvE into PvP, I would say. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Bone Skinner is the same, but at least Bone Skinner has a low health pool, so you don't sit there for half an hour. I have it here on stream where I did K9 Overlook, and I'm not joking. No one died in K9 Overlook, and because of the DPS was so low, I did a stream and talked to the stream for half an hour. We did not vibe on the boss, and for this half an hour, we like killed the boss once. Kaineng Overlook. It was horrible. It was crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's I guess how it goes. Quick play. Yeah. When a single individual control the outlying squad strike mission, no wonder everyone leaves. Yeah, I think that is the big problem of outlying squad. I have to be honest, that's why I'm so surprised when they announced that the outlying squad strike mission is in there. I think, like in quick play, you should have easy raids and strike missions where not a single player can like leads to vibe, you know? You don't want to have Kadims in there or something where you actually need a lot of different assigned players. You want to have easy like raids, old strike missions and stuff like that, where you actually have players that are new to the game, not being punished for not knowing the mechanics. You want to slowly like teach them the mechanics, not have the biggest vibe mechanic instantly in the beginning and people will just like not know what to do. This is absolutely an issue with this one, for sure. So, when now this CC thing happens, I can start it. I've played Dragon Hunter quite intensively for 2 to 3 months now, and I get a little bit bored by it. Is there a way to spice up Dragon Hunter, make it more interesting in terms of dynamics playstyle? I think Dragon Hunter is quite linear, so there is not that much. Oh, what happens now? Nothing. Okay, because I was in Continuum Split. So, okay, so Dragon Hunter is quite linear. You can play Power Dragon Hunter. There are multiple ways. You can play Longbow, Greatsword, Spear, Virtues, Radiance. There are different variants that you can play, but it's always Dragon Hunter in the end. So it's not like a big difference there in my opinion. But yeah, Kick W, of course. So, let me check 1 second. Yeah. There we go. I think it's up. It should be up. Gold giveaway is up. Exactly. Welcome, Haldir. Welcome. I'm doing good. How are you doing? I have 40-minute KO logs. Oh my god, that sounds horrible. I feel you. I'm doing good, Haldir. Very good. We are doing a 500 gold giveaway triggered by our dear friend Shadens. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. Or by all the other supports here that supported me with the subs. So exclamation mark enter in the chat or ticket, both of them work. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. Good luck to everybody. We will draw the winner in like, I don't know, a couple of minutes. Leave it open for a bit and get the chance to everybody to enter. Give me a second. Give me a second. Yes. There we go. And like I mentioned, we will also set the next sub goal because, you know, that's what Shadens like triggered here with the 500 gold giveaway. I have more sub goals planned. Yeah. And one of them will be very painful sub goal coming up very soon if we continue with this. And it will be a quick day, quick play day. Where I only play raid quick play for 3 hours straight. I can't believe I'm saying this, but this will be so painful, you know, one of the upcoming goals. Crazy Safari, you know, we will see what we get there. And just playing quick play. Let's see what we achieved there, how many times we actually get the full boss kill without anyone leaving. But yeah, that will be a while for sure. Bunny, there we go. So we finally have this boss. I really hope they adjust this health bar of this boss quite drastically. I don't want to have this boss like being like even less fast than it currently is. Yeah. Yeah, it will be fun. I think it will be fun to watch. It will not necessarily be fun to actually play raid quick play all the time. That will be quite painful, especially if you like. I cannot fill all the roles. You know, I can play quick DPS or alacrity DPS or healer, but I cannot fill like DPS, healer, and like everything all at once. So it can be, yeah, we had it here on stream sometimes. It can be quite painful for me to play, but it's fun to watch, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, quick play is like fun. Yeah, and remember, no support specs and no chat help. We want the true high DPS experience. Oh my god, yeah, that will be so painful. That will be painful. Yeah, but I mean, it will be very fun. It's the real experience, you know. It's the real experience. Quick play, high DPS. Version. So don't forget to enter the giveaway, of course. We will still have some time, don't worry. But don't forget to enter. We only have a couple of people entered, even though we have way more viewers. So we did it, we got the chests. I'm still waiting for the day where I get an infusion from an open world boss. I never got this. So let's see, at some point, you know, I believe. Nope, not this time today. That's okay, that is okay. So let's catch up in chat. You had some questions, let's do that. Do you think Fractal CM is hard for newbies to get into? I'm planning on doing Sangwa Peak for the infusion. So this is a great question. The thing is, getting into Fractal Quick Play, or not Fractal CMs rather, is in my opinion not something that is very hard nowadays, because the Fractal challenge modes, especially like let's look at the challenge modes. You know, you have in challenge modes for Fractals you have Lonely Tower, Silent Surf, Sangwa Peak, Shattered Observatory, Nightmare Fractal, and Kinfall. Those 6 have challenge modes, and they vary quite drastically in terms of difficulty. If you want specifically Sangwa Peak for the infusion, then I would say it's one of the slightly harder ones, but they are not hard, don't get me wrong. It's just it has a bit more punishing mechanics, and you need a group that actually knows roughly what they are doing. If there is interest of a lot of people, I might do a Fractal challenge mode training in the future. But I highly recommend you to not use a group in the LFG. Yeah, so either create your own groups, so go into Fractals and into tier, like the last tier, and then write something like, okay, Sangwa CM training, and then look for quick DPS, alacrity DPS, and look for the normal like people, and then try to actually be patient. You know, this is not something that you will get the first time. And then after this, you can ask for, if you did it once, you can ask for people that actually did it before, but you don't ask for kill proof. And if you get more kill proof, you can also join at some point more people with more kill proof. It's a very slow way. It's a very like annoying way to do it, but this is how you get into challenge modes, other than like trying to find streamers that do it with you, or like get into Discord servers that do like raid trainings, Fractal trainings, stuff like that. Or maybe just find a lucky group. You know, nowadays with the power creep, it's not that uncommon to find groups that actually are looking for people that are that they don't want any KP. They just like ask for people. And if you then write, I didn't never do that before, do you still want to have me? I know what to do because you watched a guide about it or something, then you get into it. And it's not hard. I think especially if you watch a guide, I have a guide about the challenge modes as well on my YouTube channel. You can watch them and understand what you need to do. Yes, it's a different experience than if you go in and try it, because then it will be way more challenging than if you see someone else do it, but you at least understand what you should be doing. So in my opinion, this is something that is like, yeah, worth considering. I think getting into challenge modes, especially fractals, can be annoying, but just watching a guide about it and finding people, like-minded people, is probably the best bet that you can get. Yeah, I think that the Sangwa normal mode is not good. It's not bad, but it's way better the challenge mode for sure. If I were to make my own LF team, put it in as CM newbie, will people join or not? I think if you are patient enough, people will join. Thanks a lot before Joe. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for the prime. You have now a higher chance of winning the gold giveaway. But yeah, I think people will join, but you need to be patient. You know, it's not something that will fill in 2 minutes. It's not something that you will get the kill in the first try. It's quite likely that you will have to do it multiple times. This is just how it works in training scenarios. So be patient and you will get it, or find a group that actually can help you, like, teach it. Yeah, but there are always people looking for it, exactly like Snowdrop puts it. Exactly. If it says too many tickets failed to enter, that means that you are already in. Yeah. Chat is in for it again, so don't worry. You know, you can win again. That's can win again. That's what I wanted to say. Exactly. Okay, so let's clean up the inventory for a bit. What do we have here? Some scavengers back. Okay, let's open those. Have some trophies. No. So much inventory chunk. It's crazy. At least we can collapse it. I really hate it when I have a nice, I got an ascended weapon that I don't need. Very good. It's always like you get some stuff if you don't need it. It's always like that, as usual. But yeah, I mean, I really hate having a not cleaned up inventory. Like, at least not cleaned up in my ordering. I really hate that. So let's clean it up a bit and put it to my bank characters. And there we go. So watching a guide and being able to answer some basic question about the encounter is easily worth 2k KP for me. Yeah, I think if people that join training groups that I do and they are not even on stream and they watch the guide beforehand, I think that's already like really good. Like, watching a guide about something and going in blind is such a big difference. And I can understand that watching a guide will not make you the best at the encounter, obviously, because you have to understand that, yeah, sure, someone tells you need to CC that attack or you need to dodge this attack. Sure, that will make you aware of it, but that does not mean that in the heat of combat you actually understand it or see it coming. So 100% it's not the same, but you are way more prepared than a lot of other people, you know? And I had so much like groups where I just had people where I could clearly see they did not know what to do. And this was like a 10k KP group. Yeah, I'm not joking. There are people that don't know what to do, even though they killed the boss like 10 times already. So if you watch a guide and you at least know what the boss is about, what you need to be aware of, that makes you way more likely to succeed and find groups. At least when I'm in the group, for sure. Yeah. I just got full ascended. What would you suggest next? I would try to find like the best build to use. So if you have full ascended berserker gear and you play a Mesmat and play power virtuoso, power chronomancer or something like that, and try to get the rotation down if you like PvE. Other than that, I would say get the masteries that you like, and after that you can set yourself the own goals. Guild Wars 2 is some kind of sandbox game. So if you like to get more like different builds, get build templates. If you like to get a bigger bank, bigger bag slots, get that. If you like to go for your first legendary, go for that. It's really like set yourself the own goals that you want to do. Everyone has different ideas how to play this game. So set yourself some goals, go for it. And try to have fun while doing so. That's my tip there. Ascended gear enables you to do every piece of content. Yeah. So what bags do you use to keep the stuff at the bottom? I'm using invisible bags. It's specifically here on my Mesmer, I have a lot of them, but on other characters, if I swap to my Ranger, I have less of them. Those are used to just have a couple of items that I always have that, for example, like luck, like unidentified gear, that stacks up passively in the background. And when I have a full stack, I can open it, I can use it, whatever. But I don't have to always do it for every single piece that I get. And I have some potions, for example, that I use for fractals, speed clearing and stuff like that. And those, that's the nice part, they will first of all not sort when I press the compact button. And second of all, if I open a vendor window, you will also see I have nothing. That's why they are invisible. So you hide it from the vendor. If I would like just pull it out here, you see, oh, it appears I can sell it. So I could accidentally sell my potions. So therefore, just having it in the invisible bed makes it very convenient. I have effectively an empty inventory. Yeah, that's the part here. You have more slots in the shared inventory than what I have in all the bags. Yeah, I mean, it's just if you play a lot of the game, you will at some point get more of those upgrades. Don't worry, you will get there. Yes, it's just something that veterans like to have. As a new player, you will slowly get more of that. Don't stress. I'm 200 mystic coins from making conflux, not paying 500 gold for them. Yeah, if you wait like a month or something, the prices for the mystic coins will drop. Yeah. Mystic coins are currently quite pricey. Yeah, you have like over 2 gold, and those will drop when the Wizard's Vault resets. The Wizard's Vault reset is in 39 days. So if you can wait that long, you will get a drop and you will notice a significant like decrease in value for the mystic coins. I can show you that actually. Give me a sec. Give me a second. I want to prove that to you because it's really like you can clearly see that. Clearly see that. Come on. Load. So there we go. Oh my god, so many ads of this website, but okay. So you can see here the graph for the last year. So exactly 1 year. And you can always see it's a 2 gold and then bam, it drops like 20 silver almost. And then you have here the Wizard's Vault resetting, bam, dropping 20 silver. Then like 20 silver. And it's like you can clearly see how this like happens every time, like bam, 20 silver. And this will happen again when the Wizard's Vault resets, because you get a lot of mystic coin influx in the market. So if you can wait for this amount, you will definitely see this happening again. I don't know what the price will be. I don't know what will happen, but a lot of people get mystic coins, they will be sold, and you will get at least 10 to 20 silver per mystic coin saving. So that is definitely like very, very like helpful if you specifically can wait for that long, if you can be patient. Just wanted to mention it here. Yeah, you can get them from the trading post, the invisible bags. You can even after using them, you can sell them again. It's really, really good item. You can also go and get 32 ones, but those are account bound. So then only the 20 slot bags, they are from the trading post. Invisible bags, you like 15 gold, not even something like that. Yeah. 12 to 15 gold. So pretty like cheap, to be honest. Yeah. The Endless Summer grind is definitely, it's not as bad. I think Endless Summer is one of the better ones to get. Like for me personally, the Endless Summer was one of the easier ones to get from the legendaries. It's not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Yeah. I want to do CM fractals. Is 100 AR the minimum recommended? Yes, I would. If you want to do challenge modes, I would get 150 agony resistance. It's technically like 140 something for the other challenge mode, but I would say yes, definitely get 150 agony resistance before you go into challenge mode. Yes. What weapon should I choose in a legendary starter kit from the Wizard's Vault to resell it? It doesn't matter. They are all pretty similar. Like which ones are in there this time? I think it's like, I don't even see. Let's check. I think it depends what you like to make. They are all pretty similar priced, because it's like always like You can Bifrost, Metrologicos, Gridkin, and Flameseeker Prophecies. Choose the one that you like. They are always pretty similar because if there is one that is more pricey to sell and you get more profit, then more people do it and the price goes down. That's just how it is. So they always are pretty similar. I would say long-term Bifrost is probably one of the better ones if you can hold on to it because a lot of people want staves. So probably the best out of those. But yeah, I think all of them are pretty similar. Pretty similar. Do you feel the game is too power focused instead of balanced of power and condi? I think it is, like, power is always preferred in a lot of cases, like fractals, like fast facing bosses and stuff like that. But at the same time, I think it has a lot of build variety as well. So you can play condi builds in everything if you wanted to. I personally think it's like, I agree with you that it is a bit more power heavy than it is condi heavy. That could be fixed though if the condi builds would have a bit of a higher damage at the end. You know, if you would have like a 2-minute fight, then power builds should have a little bit lower damage than a condi build has in the end, because the burst of a power build is higher. I think it's okay. It could be better, but it's okay, the balance. Yeah, I mean, if you do the stuff with to get the mystic coins quite fast, yeah, sure, you will get some per week, but it's not something that you can rely on as easily as you get from the Wizard's Vault. Now, the Wizard's Vault gives you a lot of mystic coins. Yeah, you get 60 or something here with one reset. That's pretty much a lot. But you can also get them, from example, from like the dailies, and you can daily leyline anomaly and stuff like that. So there are some ways to get mystic coins as well. Yeah. Might Aurora be better? Aurora is better if you are willing to do more achievements. So Endless Summer, the ring, is pretty easy. It just needs like a couple, like let's say 1, 2, maybe 3 hours of achievements. Aurora needs way more of achievements. And of course, Aurora is also an accessory. So if you want a trinket, you can get any of them. But if you want specifically a ring, you have to go for Endless Summer if you want to get the open world one. So yeah, I would say personally for me, Endless Summer, where is it here, is for most players faster to get than Aurora, but Aurora is probably cheaper. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Can you explain what all the abbreviations in the LFG raid mean? I mean, Rox, that is a question that is probably, if I would start explaining it now, I would probably be done in 2 hours. Because there are so many abbreviations. I made a video that very concisely named all the important ones. So you can check that out on my YouTube channel, because I will probably forget half of them. But there are so many important abbreviations that you should know before going into any group. You should definitely check that video out if you want to see that. I have a video like raid abbreviations or something, and you will find it on my YouTube channel. Yes. Yeah, welcome. Welcome, Alka, welcome. Nice to see you all here. Is Celestial Stat still valid in general? Yes, it's very valid. In solo builds, it's really good. In some like group builds, like for example, Celestial Firebrand is good. Celestial, what is another good example? Celestial Tempest, Celestial Scourge. They are really good with Celestial gear because they can heal, they can provide a boon, Alacrity, for example, and they can provide damage. So Celestial is really good. And in competitive modes, in PvP it doesn't exist, but in PV in World vs. World, it exists, and it's a good roaming stat, for example. Yes. Yeah. Any speculations on the new legendary accessory? So the new legendary accessory, we have the confirmation. Let me show that on screen again. I don't want to not prove it here. We have here this information from the wiki. From the wiki. You see this now here, and in the wiki, they confirmed that. You can also see that with the reference here. But we will get 2 legendary accessories with the next upcoming patch. You can zoom in that you see it a bit better. In the quarterly update 2, which will probably launch on May 12th. And one of them will be obtained through PvE, and one of them will be obtained through World vs. World. How exactly is not known yet, but I suspect you need just a lot of materials from World vs. World, like World vs. World skirmish tickets, badges of honor and stuff like that. And for the PvE one, it's quite likely related to the third map. Yeah, I would be very surprised if it wouldn't include any like big world like map completion, like currency from the map and stuff like that. Other than that, I expect it will also need some currency from the first 2 maps, because that's just to make them replayable. But I guess that's my summary here. Yeah. Celestial Spectre, good point as well. Yeah. I kept thinking stability step means spike damage. Yeah, it's crazy. There are so many abbreviations for sure. So I wanted your opinion about nerfing the weight of healing power stat by 10 to 15% would be a nice idea for older content. I mean, I think this is such an interesting question. Guild Wars 2 has not only a power creep in DPS, but also in healing and boon output, and they don't address this at all with the balance patch. So I personally would say yes, 100%. I would agree that it would be awesome if Arena would also decrease the healing output, the boon output, in maybe only older content, but in general, so that the healers get more like not I press one button and have all the healing and all the boons. But I think that is harder to implement than just decreasing the damage by 10%. So I'm not sure if they will do it ever. Yeah. Would you like to see the Holy Trinity come back to Guild Wars 3? This is a great question. I think, first of all, we don't know anything about Guild Wars 3, if that will ever come out, how it is like supposed to be, if it's even an MMO. But if it will be an MMO, I think some closer thing to the Holy Trinity would probably be better. Because this is something that we see with Guild Wars 2. Like looking at, for example, let's say you have a druid, yeah, and a druid is a healer, yeah, typically in raids, yeah. So you play a heal druid, heal alacrity druid. But if you are playing with Harrier stats, you're the healer. If you're playing with Giver stats, you're not only the healer, but you're also the tank. So this is something that's very confusing for a new player to understand. So I personally would always say, yes, if it's like easier to get into, it's better to go back to traditional MMO, Holy Trinity. But I think in Guild Wars 2, it's way too late for that. So I personally think in Guild Wars 2, it's managed well nowadays, but it's pretty confusing for new player to understand. So I think, yes, Holy Trinity would be good if it's implemented well, if that even will happen in any future. We will see. Yeah. Well, they would just have to nerf the healer stats, so no one else get hit except the healers. I think the problem is like it's really hard because like nerfing boon duration, nerfing healing power affects not only one thing. You know, having lower boon duration means you have to adjust your builds, and you already take 100% boon duration on healers. So how would you nerf that? Why? You know, that's weird. And the same goes for healing power. You already take the stats that give you the most amount of like stats that you need. Yes, you could technically go for more healing power if you go, for example, for Magi's or Apothecary gear or something like that. But you typically want to have the highest concentration possible, and there is no main concentration stat as far as I know. I think the only one that has concentration really high is Diviner. And Diviner is obviously not having healing power, so that doesn't exist either. So it's like, okay, how would you balance that? I personally think, yes, I agree. It would be nice to decrease boon output and maybe decrease the healing in general, but it's, in my opinion, too easy of a fix to change the just raw numbers by 10%. I'm not sure if that's the way to do it, because some healers have way more healing output than others. Just making the stats less good is probably too simplified, I would say, yeah. Yes, Castora will have 4 maps. Yeah, you will have 2 maps with you have already 2 maps with being the Starlit Welt and how's the other one called? Shipwreck Strand. Those 2 are already out. Then the 3rd map will launch in May and the last one will launch in August. Yes. Yeah. It's confusing, the system, for sure. People's already struggle on somewhat on easy to heal encounters. Hitting the heal stat would just outcast them from the content. Yeah, I would agree. I think it's like healing nerfs are way harder to implement than DPS nerfs. You know, DPS nerfs makes the content 10 to 15% longer if you nerf by 10% the damage. If you nerf the healing by 10 to 15%, that might lead to people wiping, because that is exactly the threshold that they were surviving before and now they don't. Then the content might be impossible for them in the worst case to kill. that is pretty drastic. So I'm not sure if they want to do it. Yeah. How can you farm Imperial Favor in a low effort way? That is a great question. Thanks for the like really nice segue to one of my nicest ways to do that. I have two really good ways to do that. First of all, I have characters standing in those spots here where I get like just really nice daily login things. For example, I get those rune stones, which can be really nice if you craft the legendaries. Yeah, those here, Jade rune stones. Just getting a couple of them per day from having characters standing here. And the second way of how I get this is, or how I get legendary materials, but if you want specifically Imperial Favor, I can recommend this merchant here. Every day you log in, I cannot showcase this, but there is, like, you can purchase this here for Imperial Favor, but there's another one for Karma, and there's another one every day for, you get 5 of those writs of End of Dragons for 1 writ of New Kanang, of Saitung Province, and Echo World. So that means that you get, for the cost of 3, you get 5. So you get more of those, and if you do that consistently, you can see I have 2,000 of those. That is a lot of Imperial Favor that I got just over the course of time. On top of that, if you have this like upgrade to the home instance, you can get each day mail sent to you that gives you a couple of those writs as well from a specific map. So for example, New Kaineng. And this will give you consistent influx of Imperial Favor. I don't play End of Dragons maps usually, but I have, like you can see here, like 1.4k Imperial Favor plus insane amount of those like writs. I have a lot of those writs even without playing End of Dragons maps. It's really like you get those very consistently and can convert them really, really easily into Imperial Favor to make a legendary out of that, for example. Yeah. Yeah, but back to the healing thing, I agree that the like in Guild Wars 2, healing stat nerfs and boon duration nerfs, as well as making Holy Trinity come up in Guild Wars 3 is a really complex topic. There are so many things that you need to consider. In Guild Wars 2, we have everything is AoE. Like, there is barely any healing. There is like a couple of skills that heal only the target, but like most healers provide healing around you. And that already is completely different from healing in other games. So, for example, this healing skill provides a self-healing of 7.4k and an allied healing of 4k. This is a radius of 300. So effectively, this is like this, yeah? So roughly. This makes it pretty broken if you stack on top of each other. In World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, you have a lot of healing skills that are single target. So if I target this person, they will be healed. But if I target someone else, this will be healed. So this is something that is like very hard to balance in Guild Wars 2 in terms of like just how can you nerf healing skills and healing output, boon duration output just by changing a stat here, because this is unaffected. It's not like you have insane amount of healing power and therefore your radius increases. No, the radius is always the same. So this is hard to balance. On top of that, you have then, are you the tank? Are you the healer? Are you both? This is something that is really like intricate and hard to balance. And I don't know how to fix that or change that for Guild Wars 2. I don't know if they will ever do that at Guild Wars 3, but if they do that, I think they will adjust this quite differently. Maybe more like in other MMOs, maybe pretty similar like in Guild Wars 2. Who knows? Yeah, always happy to help, Haldir. Always happy to help. Yes, you can also buy writs with Rift Essences if you have a lot of them. Sure. That is also the case. Yeah. And can highly recommend it for sure. Like converting stuff into writs and Imperial Favor is a really good gold method. I have a really full-fledged guide on my YouTube channel about how to make gold out of Imperial Favor because it's one of the best currency to convert into gold. But it's something that just needs a bit of time investment all the time. Yeah. Would you like to see some more targetable healing with UI changes to stop stacking? I think in a future game maybe, but in Guild Wars 2 I think that would involve like rechanging like almost everything. Like you have to change like how healing works. You have to change how like encounters are designed. I think that is unrealistic and probably not healthy for the game. Yeah. I think it's not good, yeah, to make that. I just came back to the game recently. I was hyped by Bladezone visually, but it looks like there is no update build for PvE. Any recommendation? It looks cool. I wish I could play it. Cool. I think Bladezone is a little bit like left alone, a little bit. But in my opinion, Bladezone is one of the builds that if you want to play it, just play it. It's a good build. Yeah? Like DPS Bladezone, it's good. The updated build is still up to date, and it will get a little bit of a damage nerf with the upcoming damage adjustment patch, but it will not be bad. Yeah. Yeah. Which ascended armor piece should I get from Wizard's Vault box first? Chestplate, leggings, or helmet? I would say the chest because it gives the most amount of stats. That's always my answer to this question, but you should get all of them in the end. Getting all of them is probably the best option that you can get. Always. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense if you get the other ones from other currencies and stuff like that, then of course get the chest first, yes. Reasonings why stacking will always be optimal are boons, heals, and revives. Yeah, and it's also easier to manage with the human psychology. That's exactly it. And it's also like in World versus World, there's another point. There's also stacking, and it's also because if 10 people are stacking on top of each other, you share the damage. The damage is soaked by different people. So it's not always like one person gets all the damage from incoming attacks, but there will also be damage that will be, so to say, shared between each other. So stacking is just like, by a long shot, the most optimal thing you can get in Guild Wars 2. Yeah. Always happy to help. Yeah, I was just doing some... the daily raids I already did earlier on stream. I'm just doing some like weekly, daily, whatever you want to call it, like strike missions. I still like to do my daily Iceblood Saga strike missions. They are not as rewarding as they were before, but it's still like a really solid gold gain per hour if you have a fast group. Yeah. Is it worth buying a Generation 3 and saving the Spirit Shards? Can't decide on crafting a Gen 3 versus crafting Legendary to save with the starter kit? I think it depends a bit what kind of content you like doing. You know, crafting legendaries yourself is always about, do you like the content that you need to do, the account-bound content, for example, getting the map completion in the core map. Do you like that? Then don't worry, craft it yourself and sell it if you want to get the money. If you don't like doing it, then purchase it from the trading post. The same goes for Generation 3. If you like to play like End of Dragons maps for map completion for the currency and stuff like that, then don't worry, you can do it. It's really good gold gain actually. But if you don't like doing it, that's completely fine as well. Then you can do the map completion in the core game and sell the Generation 1 weapon and purchase the Generation 3 then. I think it is more dependent on what kind of stuff you like doing more than what is actually worthwhile in general. Because I personally like to do the End of Dragon maps completion because they're way faster with the lanterns and stuff. I think the core games map completion is way more annoying for me. I did it also like over a dozen times, so that's just, at this point, I don't want to redo it. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I would say End of Dragon maps are probably faster to do, just for the map completion. Yeah. Have you any ideas for mechanics on raids, fractal bosses you think would be healthy for the game? I think the problem is like with raids and encounter design, it always depends about how difficult you want to make it for the players. I think like they are not bad with encounter design. I think like Keller is not necessarily a bad encounter. It's not the best encounter they have, but it's definitely okay. I personally would say encounters or in general design that I like is when you have attacks. You know, I always preach that. I think this is not something that ArenaNet is really like often doing, is encounters that have a lot of attacks. Boneskinner is one of my favorite encounters, not because it's a difficult encounter, but because it's an encounter where you actually have attacks to dodge. You don't have to deal with mechanics, but you have attacks. So for example, this is an attack, you know, you sidestep it. Then the next attack is when he raises his hand. This is an attack, you sidestep it. This is not mechanics. I like to see more encounters where actually attacks are the dangerous part. Yeah, sure, there could be added some mechanics in there, but I really like if there are some, so to say, dangerous attacks that you have to avoid. Look at, for example, Sabata or something like that. They don't really have that many attacks. Most of them are just mechanics. You have to do the cannons, you have to do some CC, stuff like that. This is more mechanics. This is not necessarily encounter being interesting. It's more like the mechanics make the encounter. But I think a good example would be Lagos. Lagos is a raid boss, or 2 bosses, whatever you want to call it. And those have a really good attack pattern. There are not that many mechanics on Lagos. It's more like you have to avoid the shockwave, you have to avoid this attack, you have to avoid that. Guild Wars 2 does not have that many bosses that have that, so that would be my design for raids that I think is like would help or would make it more interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, the lanterns are typically faster in the End of Dragons maps, yes, than the normal map completion. They are. Yes, the best to get spirit shards is by farming open world rifts, specifically rifts in like Mistborn Barrens. This is insanely good, like just jumping between those 2 maps, especially with the current buff of 50% more experience gain, you get very, very fast spirit shards. Yeah, after this run we will draw the giveaway winner. So if you want to enter the winner, the giveaway rather, you have to not only be a how is it called, follower on Twitch, !enter to enter the 500 gold giveaway. So yeah, be sure to enter that one. But also, if you're a subscriber, you get 5 times the luck. So good luck to everybody. Still ongoing until we are done with this Iceblood Saga 5 and Dragonstorm run. Yeah. If it says failed to enter, you're already in. So don't worry. Still have to finish the masteries in Soto and only have Corteria fully done. The good part about this is you get the experience in the back as well. So this is a really weird thing. No one tells you about that. But in Guild Wars 2, if you have a mastery completed, but you don't have the mastery points to actually unlock the mastery yet, yeah, so you're locked at the maximum, you will still get spirit shards in the background for completing a full level. This is really weird. This is not something that anyone tells you. The game doesn't tell you at all. But this is how it works. So you will still get experience in the background. Yeah, keep that in mind. So if you are farming like a map that you don't have the mastery fully unlocked, you can still get spirit shards there. Even though you don't see it that easily. Really weird, but that's how it is. It needs like 250,000 experience to level up if you have the mastery rank here fully and don't have it. It's a little bit weird for sure that this is the case, but that's how it works. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, there are a lot of ways to farm experience and get spirit shards and stuff. I think in general, I have to be honest, like for me, spirit shards is always something that, yes, you can farm them very drastically, very fast. But if you play the game, if you play Fractals, if you play like open world, if you just play a lot, if you play PvP and world versus world, you get tomes of knowledge, which you can convert into spirit shards as well. You will get spirit shards from almost everywhere. Just so the rule of thumb is just play more of the game and you will probably get more spirit shards as well. It's just somewhat of a patience check, and if you want to grind them really drastically, then like the bobble farm, like the Mistborn Barrens, or just in general rift farming is really good. Or if the labyrinth, the Halloween labyrinth is up, this is also an extremely valuable thing for specifically farming experience and spirit shards. Also with the DPS nerf, I think it would make sense that offensive healers, so celestial healers and all, would become more meta since they could compensate for DPS loss while still being able to out-heal most mechanics. I think it depends a bit, because you could already take them, so I'm not sure why people wouldn't take them nowadays, if that, you know, nothing changes with celestial healers for the most part. So I would say it's more like, yeah, sure, they could take it, but I think a lot of people would rather have the safety of like having a full-fledged healer, because a celestial healer just by nature puts out less healing than most full-fledged healers. Therefore, most people want to have the safety and would not rather survive than having a little bit more DPS in optimal scenario. But if you wipe, then you have to restart and lose way more time. I don't know. Hard to judge, but I think maybe you're right, maybe not. We will have to see. I already like to play celestial healers in some cases. It's just like in packs you never know, so better play full heal, you know. Yeah. Yeah, the enrichment and amulets is also quite good for experience farming. You should get all the boosters, all the enrichments, guild buffs, all that you can get for experience farming. Yeah, I have a lot of. I just want to spend them. I'm working on legendary armor, wanna build and sell eternity, rebuild sunrise, and get generation 3 dagger. Yeah, I mean, then that's a good to-do list. Yeah, a lot of stuff to do. Yeah, but makes sense. It sounds like a good plan to me. Yeah. Which profession is good for mage fantasy build? I would say elementalist is probably the one that gets the closest to a mage fantasy. Depends a bit what kind of mage you want to be. Like, I'm playing currently the mind mage of Mesmer, which is also somewhat of a mage, but a different kind of mage. So I would say for elementalist, you have fire, water, earth, air. This is so the typical elements there. So that's that. Yes, but it's one more reason to use a Celestial. Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't know if the community like would be inclined to agree here. We will have to see. You know, who knows what the balance patch brings? You know, maybe they change some stuff. You know, who knows? Maybe they change some stuff. I doubt it, but who knows? Yeah. Use the Canicon Gobbler. What's the best to add? So the Canicon Gobbler is really good. There are like 10 buffs or even more that you can get more experience, like the experience enrichment here. Yeah, you can get the Canicon Gobbler, like you mentioned. You can get food, you can get utility consumables, you can get the banners. So hero banner and spirit banner, and what else can you get? There's so many things, like the seasonal buffs. You can get some short buffs, like from example from completing some quests. There are so many experience buffs that you can upgrade, and then you get insane amount. You can get the Blackline boosters. There are so many different boosters. Like you can get the Lunar New Year boosters. There are so many boosters. I made a whole video about this multiple times already. You can find it on my YouTube channel as well if you want to get all the boosters and how to get them, how to like get to the maximum and stuff like that. But in general, get as much as you can. Don't think too hard about like, oh my god, I don't have that booster, I'm missing like insane amount of value. That's not the case. Just get as much as you can, and you will be getting more experience, a lot more experience than if you would not have any boosters. Yeah. But yeah, I think in general, like if you want to get the most out of your time in any game mode, you should use celebration boosters. You should, if you want to get experience and like the most amount of loot, you should use experience boosters, magic find boosters. They are really cheap, especially with the Canicon Gobbler. But there are a lot of things that you can use, but some people say it's not worth it. Some people say it's worth it. I would say the only one that I say only use like in really rare cases is like the Blackline booster, because that's one of the most expensive ones. It's also really good and potent, but it's very expensive, so don't use that one. But it's like a big topic, talking about which boosters to use, when to use them and stuff like that. Definitely a really big topic. You mean the Tengu were a playable race? I mean that a lot of people want that, yeah. I'm not sure if we will ever get a playable race though. Yeah. I feel like the Guild Wars 2 community is due to making content faster, because everything is linked to gold and gold farming, and if you try to make content harder, the community will complain. At least that's how I feel about it. Yeah, I think that summarizes pretty well, I would say. But the problem is, how do you counteract this? You know, this is just a mindset if everything in the game is gold related. You know, everything in the game. There's almost not a single thing that doesn't need gold. So almost everybody that plays the game does things for gold. Yeah, sure, they do it for fun and gold, but if there is no gold reward, almost no one does the content. So it's always about gold power in the end, because almost everything is linked to gold. So it's like, how do you balance that as developers? How can you make stuff like that actually being worthwhile for players to do? And it's not really important how fast to do it. I don't know. I think that is really challenging to manage. Feels like everything in the game is easy but takes time outside of some CL and LCM. Yeah, pretty much the summary. I mean, it's after all somewhat of a casual game. It's not a game where you have like insane tryhard content being rewarded with insane amount of gold. That's not really the case in Guild Wars 2. that's just how they designed the game. I think that will not change. Maybe in a future game, but not in Guild Wars 2. I don't see that happening. No. Usually just use the Canicon Gobbler and whatever I have. Couple of food items and random celebration booster. Maybe that makes sense. That's probably the most like easy to access and not bad in terms of value either. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to always name drop it here, but there might be a Guild Wars 3 coming, and then they can change stuff like that. For sure. But we don't have any information on that, so I just say this is what it is, you know, for Guild Wars 2. What is the next one? Are we done already? Yes, we are. But it's not something that could exist within a casual game. Like you said, raiding needs tiers, so a tier easy and a harder tier could be compatible with the game state and design. I think in an ideal world, I would agree. Yeah, in an ideal world, I actually think it would be really good to have 3 difficulty tiers for every single raid boss. Yeah, so you have an easy mode that is essentially a story mode. Yeah, so everybody kills this on the first try. And then you have a normal mode where you get actual rewards other than the experience. Maybe you get a small reward for the easy mode as well, but nothing big. For the normal mode, you get the normal rewards. So the stuff that I'm doing, like strike missions, stuff like that, normal rewards. And then for the legendary mode or the hardest mode, that would be the reward where you get titles, where you get specific skins, stuff like that. Where you might also get really good gold, but it should not be insane amount of gold so that people that cannot do it feel like gate-kept from getting gold. It should be something that is like balanced equally in terms of like what you can get and what you cannot get. That would be my ideal world. But like I said, in Guild Wars 2, this seems too far off. Seems like it's almost not possible because in Guild Wars 2 you have already so many different encounters, so many different systems layered on top of each other. It's really hard for Arena to fix all of them under one umbrella. But if there's a future game, I think they should have that in mind. That is my only point that I want to make here. Yeah. But it could exist for sure. I mean, they try it with quick play and legendary challenge modes. They try to do it, and I think they do it with the challenge mode, at least with the harder piece of content, pretty well. It's just we're still missing it for like, I don't know, 30 encounters. So I'm not sure if they will ever go back to that. Maybe like a dungeon system, like the fractal system, something like that. Yeah. So after this, we will do the giveaway. So exclamation mark enter, you have to be a Twitch follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. 500 gold are on the line, thanks to our support goal here that we have reached. So if it says too many tickets, you're already in. I think just being able to do the same raid twice a week within the same gold reward and titles and skin is the perfect middle ground. I think this is extremely good, yeah. I think the raid UI is pretty cool. Like, if they do increase that a bit more, stuff like that would be awesome, yeah. Like, the raid UI is one of the best updates they have done in a long while. So, at least for me, yeah, and those reward changes. Whoever did that, I think Roy was involved. At least we saw that on the live stream. I think that is awesome. Like Raid God, like the daily raids and stuff like that. That is exactly what we need. More of that. I'm like all up for it. Yeah. Exactly. So, let's see. I'm still like I'm actually already like in Troubadour jail again. You know, I will be so lost if we get the. It will be so painful if we go the quick play. You know, the next sub goal is the quick play like raids, and I'm not allowed to play healer. You know, I'm already locked into Troubadour jail. So what do I play? You know, what do I even play after I have to play like high DPS role? That will be so painful. You cannot carry on DPS that way. That will be exciting. I mean, I also think like healer in this piece of content is probably one of the most chill pieces of like thing that you can do, because it's, look at this, you know, reading more chat than I'm actually playing and still provide all the boons and perma stability and stuff. But since I come from WoW, I had a weekly vault FOMO, but in Guild Wars 2 I feel daily FOMO. Making some daily content is making the game feel even more daily FOMO. Like you have to play every single day. Yeah, I think like you have to be really careful. Guild Wars 2 has a lot of issues with dailies, in my opinion, in terms of like you can do so many dailies. You don't have to, that's the good part, but it's pretty like crazy. Like looking at, for example, fractals. You have daily fractals, you have daily recommendeds, you have daily challenge modes. If you then enjoy raids as well, you have daily raid bounties. So you have a lot of like stuff that you essentially need if you want to get the best out of your daily play in instance content. That's pretty hefty. So I think like this FOMO is there, but I think it's not as urgent because it's just providing gold. It's just if you have more time, you get more gold, essentially. I think like you have to find a middle ground. You want to incentivize people to get into the content, to play the content every day, but you don't want to make it so that it's so good that people are getting like burned out because they have to play every single day. This is I think you have to find a middle ground for sure. I mean, I could play on a second computer. That is true, chat. That could be done, but that would be very stressful. You know, streaming, doing like multiple things at once. That would be quite painful. But funny idea. I like it. I like the optimization here. Guild Wars 2 doesn't push you on doing anything, but there's so many dailies that you still end up having daily FOMO. Yeah, exactly. It's like you don't need to do anything, but if you want to do like something, then you probably start with doing dailies and you have some kind of FOMO anyways. Yeah, it's a bit weird. Guild Wars 2 is a sandbox game, so you have to decide which kind of FOMO you actually follow. I would say that's pretty much what I would summarize here. Yeah. For me, having only weekly things is very nice. It's like I can rearrange my week however I like and still hit the weekly requirements. I think that is like good, but you should also not have too many weeklies because then you end up in a situation that we had before the raid dailies existed, where like people did all the weeklies, the like somewhat more tryhard players, on Monday. Yeah, when the weekly reset happened. And then everyone did their daily or weekly raids on Monday, and you had essentially like a drop off of over 90% of the raid scene over the course of a week. That's also not good. You want to have an alive scene if possible. So I think it's like good to have a mix of both. That is, in my opinion, the ideal use case of like weeklies and dailies. At least for me. Yeah. I'm not aim on anything after story done, just a random daily, do one and done. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much like how most players do it. They play one piece of content for the daily and then they log off or play another piece of content for the next. Yeah, that's just how it is. Yeah, pick your own FOMO, exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, you see that the same with the Wizard's Vault. You know, the Wizard's Vault is also some kind of FOMO because you log in for getting daily rewards, but you can pick what you want. You can pick weekly, World versus World, daily PvE, whatever. So you pick your piece of FOMO that you actually like. Sounds weird, but that's just how they designed it, you know. And it makes sense, you know. It makes people coming back to the game way more than if you would just have a sandbox game with like no daily or weekly rewards. It's just how the human brain works, I guess. Yeah, I mean, WoW is different for sure, but I think WoW is also a little bit of an unfair comparison because in Guild Wars 2 you just don't have enough content pieces that you couldn't do it on one day. You know, you can easily do like all the raids in one day, and that would be Monday. So I think like if you have enough content that you have to spread it over multiple days, then sure, then it's not a big problem to have only weeklies anymore. But if you have like not enough content, or for tryhard people at least, I'm not saying Guild Wars 2 doesn't have enough content, I'm just saying the raid scene is pretty, like there are not as many raids or dungeons or fractals as you have in World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy. So this is a bit of a difference there. But I think they actually improved by quite a bit in terms of like how they balance stuff. I really have to say like the balancing in terms of reward structure that they did with Visions of Eternity for raids, for like the legendaries and stuff like that, I'm pretty happy with this. I think they did a pretty good job, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I also cannot judge how much like content WoW has because I was never at a like try hard level in WoW. You know, that's I'm the wrong person to ask there, but I know it from other people, from friends and stuff. So this is obviously quite well known. Yeah. Guild Wars 2 is like my holiday away from the gacha. Yeah, I mean, makes sense. So it's time. It's time. We will draw the giveaway winner in like 2 minutes. So exclamation mark enter, exclamation mark ticket. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. Good luck to everybody. And last announcement. Yeah. It's like the perfect addiction. Yeah. WoW is optimized in that way. It's optimized. Infusion incoming for the giveaway. I mean, I always tell it. If I get an infusion in any of my streams, I will do a giveaway with the infusion. I will not keep it. I will do the giveaway. So it will always like be you will hoping for it as well, you know. So if I get it now, any infusion today in the future streams, I will do a giveaway. That's how it works. I'm not sure. Don't get your hopes up. I played this piece of content, but also a lot of other pieces of content, open world maps, so often. Hundreds, thousands of times at this point, and didn't get it. So don't get your hopes up. Yeah. So see, yeah, we got an exotic, you know, an exotic shoulder armor piece. Oh my god, insane value. But yeah, better than nothing, I guess. It's easy to say for you because you're unlucky. I mean, it's easy to say, sure, but you know, don't forget. By the law of the big numbers, by doing it 10,000 times, I get, so to say, more likely to actually get it because I failed so many times at the like casino already. But I agree with you. Of course, it's easy for me to say because I know that it will probably not happen. But if it happens, I'm standing to my word. I will do a like. If I get a Chuck Infusion, I will do a Chuck Infusion giveaway. Maybe not on the same day, but I will do the Chuck Infusion giveaway the next stream. Yeah, so it will happen. And today is a 500 gold giveaway, so that's what we're gonna do now. Yeah. Do you have any advice on which class to pick? I think you should pick the class that you like. And if you are bored of Ranger right now and you want to pick another medium armor, or don't like medium armor at all, whatever, then choose another one and try them. I think Guild Wars 2 is very alt friendly. It heavily depends what you like. I cannot give you any bigger tips because balance should not be concerned. Only about looks, about fun and playstyle. Yeah. Yeah, the chance is always the same, but by the law of the big numbers, the chance of not getting a 1% drop chance after 10,000 tries is pretty much zero. So, you know, it's always about the argument. Yes, the chance in a vacuum of a single drop is always the same. But if you do it 1,000 times and a 1% chance, you have a way, so to say, average higher chance of getting it this time than before. Yeah. What was your most expensive drop ever? I think that was like, what was that? I think that was back in the day, like a Khan mask or something. Not a Khan infusion, but a Khan mask. So from Grofmar Valley or something. Yeah, that was the highest value item that I got. Okay, so it's time to draw the winner. Good luck to everybody. Hope you all entered. And we will see what's going on. Who's the winner this time? And who is the winner? Who's the lucky winner? Sharwick, congratulations. If you're here in chat, please let me know your account name so I can send you the gold. Rigged? Of course it's rigged. Yeah, I mean, you won. I mean, congrats. You're here in chat. Perfect, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, so that's what we like. Send me your account name with the, what is called numbers and stuff. And then I can send you the gold. Congrats. Congrats. And don't worry, my friends, we will do more gold giveaways and stuff in the future as well. Exactly. Bonked. We got bonked. Yeah. Congrats for winning. Nice. You sent the name. Perfect. Congrats, congrats. There we go. That's that. That's that. Yeah, and let's read the chat here for a second, but I think that's also the end of today's stream. So I hope you had a lot of fun. For me, it was a blast. Thank you all for your support. It was awesome, crazy support today. I will stream tomorrow as well, of course. And hope to see you then. Wish you all a very nice day, nice weekend if we don't see each other again. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel if you haven't already. And I wish you all a very nice day and take care. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. See you around.